Good evening, everyone. How you doing? I didn't have the countdown this week. I don't know what I was doing. I hit the wrong button. But anyway, welcome to the Hooligan Alley Hangout here in my palatial estates in the great city of Blairsville, Pennsylvania. How y'all doing on this pretty good Friday? This is J.W. Sims, the co-creator of Omni, and I'm going to be talking to David Summey tonight. He is a creator. He has a book on Indiegogo right now called Naked Cannibal Campers. If that sounds familiar, we'll let him explain maybe why. But I'm going to go ahead and bring David on. There you go. Good evening, David.
Hey,
how you doing?
good evening. Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. It's a pretty good Friday. So.
Oh yeah. It's a good Friday. A good Friday.
It's a pretty good Friday. Yes. Oh man, sorry about my back. I don't know. I slept on it wrong last night, and it's just I don't know. I think when you sit your whole life in a chair now, things start going wrong.
I think it's the age. I bet my back starts hurting if I laying down wrong. Yeah. I'll get up one morning and I can't even move. I'm like, oh, my back. I'm only 50, but
you're not much for. I don't have far to go then. So. Oh man! All right, so you have Naked Cannibal Campers.
Yes.
And I remember backing on Kickstarter a few months ago, and then I see
awesome
that you have it on Indiegogo now. So this is a question I ask everybody: why Indiegogo? Like, if you already had it on Kickstarter, why did you take it over to Indiegogo?
Well, this is the first time I did that. And it's only our second comic book at RMD Comics, but I took it to Indiegogo because we want to get a bigger print. I want to get a bigger print run. I mean, we're going to take it and just get a bigger print. Plus, I had this unbelievable new cover that Chris Hall did that I just said, I got to put it out for something.
Yeah.
So it's the Indiegogo exclusive right now. And it's paint over is what it is. Really, really cool. And yeah, I think it's just to bring in more money. So at the end, I can, get my book out to more people.
Yeah, obviously. That's the name of the game. Get as many eyes on your product as
yes.
Yeah, I haven't even I don't know. I was debating whether to do the Indiegogo thing with Omni, but I just don't know if I want to learn a new thing right now.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Yeah, it's a lot like Kickstarter.
Yeah. So I might wait until the end of the year when I'm hopefully have the trade out, and then I'll take it over there because I know they do also like that print, whatever it's called, where you can just sell issues through that.
Sell issue, yeah. I haven't tried that, but luckily I got a good partner that's helping me out. Vince Atkins. He's, when I'm working, he's doing, he's on Indiegogo and he set most of it all up. I did a little bit here and there, but he did most of it. So it's as you do a Kickstarter, and you're doing it your first time, it's scary, because you don't know what you're doing. That's the word I would use because
I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, me neither. But like I said, I think we talked about earlier. Travis helped me out in my first book, and and thanks to him, I was able to learn from what he did, and we went on to doing our next book, on Kickstarter, and we were pretty successful. We did was it $6,393. That's pretty good for the second book. Yeah. And we're, we learned some stuff. We learned about covers. We learned because we got like 18 covers, I think, for the book.
I had trouble with 4.
My first one had 5, counting the blank cover. This has about 8. Actually, it's going to wind up with over 20 covers because we have an exclusive cover for a store. We have 3 exclusive covers for the movie producers, and then hey, Keith, that's my wife's uncle. That's my uncle. So yeah, we have 3 exclusive covers they're going to have that after the fact, and then I think we're going to talk about one more exclusive cover. And yeah, Suki Mania. That's one of the characters. She's the one with the green hair, and she has she's real. I mean, the star of the show, but I think they all have their abilities and talents. I'm lucky I'm in communication with them, and we got some. We're going to bring forth their abilities and stuff in the comic book. That was going to be fun. So, and the next issue, hopefully, we're going to bring a little more of maybe having them involved too. So with something like, also one of the actresses is an unbelievable artist, and she drew a cover that is unbelievable of herself, and she just gave us the art and says, do it, and we're like, oh, amazing, we got to do it.
Yeah.
So that's an exclusive deal on the Indiegogo, and also it was on the Kickstarter too.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had another question. Oh, okay. This is my old age. I gotta start writing these questions down. All right, the Naked Cannibal Campers. You said that's also a movie, right?
Yeah, it started out as a movie. It was by Gator Blades production, and it's Sean. I'm bad with names too, but Sean's the director and the owner, and then you got Chris, which he's the other director, and they saw Return to Cinder and the quality, and they liked my work, and we sat down and discussed in some discussions, and next thing you know, we're making a movie, a comic book from a movie, So.
Oh, cool. Is it a direct like adaptation, or do you have a little bit of leeway to?
We have full creative control because it's a low budget movie. So, and it's it is what it is. It's a B-rated movie. I'd say we are actually selling that movie with a comic book exclusive cover, which the cover looks like the movie, the DVD or the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. You'll have a Blu-ray that looks just like the comic book. But no, we're the movie is I say get a couple beers, hang out with friends, and drink and watch it because it's funny. It's crazy. It's got naked women eating people. So it's they're witches in the woods that are eating unexpected campers so they can stay young, and the story goes off from there. There's a wizard that wants to fight him, or warlock, I'm sorry, that wants to fight him, and you really don't know why in the movie, but we kind of bringing out why. He's got an eye patch too. We're bringing that out. We're letting everybody know more of the story. We're taking it, a low budget movie and giving it an unlimited budget in the comic book. The first comic book is taking a step, but the second comic book is going to take even a bigger step, and then the third is just going to go crazy. And if we're set for 3, but if it keeps going, we're going to keep going further. So that's another thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Keith says it's my kind of movie. It just says naked, and that's the best kind of movie.
Yeah. Well, we started getting everything in for this is one of the Blu-rays. We're allocated 50. So we got all our Blu-rays in. We got all kinds of things. We got labels that we can put labels on. That it actually works. They stick it. I put them on my Yeti, and you can wash it. You can wash it in the dishwasher and everything. It stays on. I was like, wow.
There's vinyl stickers.
Oh yeah. And then we got Naked Cannibal Camper magnets.
Oh.
We got the stickers that came in. All the stickers came in. And then we got another sticker I don't have right here with me, but it's the Indiegogo exclusive cover. Mm-hmm. So since we're a little bit behind, I think I'm going to surprise everybody and put an extra something in their package, because we promised by the end of the last month, but we're going to be shipping out by the end of next month or this month. So we're going to kind of throw a little extra for everybody because because you guys are waiting for us and trusted us, we're going to give you a little extra. So, Suki the horse, yes.
Yeah, riding the Return to Cinder horse.
Well, what it was, I had a first time ever drawing online, and I said, what should I draw? And then everybody said that, hey, put your 2 books together. Mm-hmm. So I put Suki on Return to Cinder's horse, wearing his hat and his badge, and then she had a
Nice.
bloody hand licking her fingers like she ate Return to Sender.
Nice.
So yeah, so that turned out pretty good, I think. It was my first one yet. I don't know if you draw live, but it's kind of scary drawing live too. You know?
I done it a few times. I don't know if I'm very slow. Like I even when I started my YouTube channel, which this is airing on right now live, I tried
Wow.
to do coloring tutorials because that's kind of what everyone knows me as a colorist. And it took me
Okay.
like 2 or 3 hours to color one picture. It's like, yeah, no one's going to sit through this because watching someone color is boring enough. Like, me doing it's boring. I can't imagine sitting watching someone do it. So,
Oh yeah. Well, you'll be surprised. I mean, people find what you do interesting.
yeah.
You know.
Now I see some other people do it, and they do like a time lapse kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't like those because, like, I'm self-taught. Everything I've learned, I've kind of. So, when someone has a video like that, I like to actually be able to watch it so I can learn some things from them, not just like sped up and I'm like trying to like, what did they do? How did they do that? What?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And coloring, like especially digital coloring, I mean, you really have to just come up with your own way because, I mean, I've learned from I think 3 or 4 different people, and they've all done it different. So it's like you can't really. So like the way I do it, like I'll watch other people and I'll be like, how do you do that? Like how do you, some people.
How do you make it that easy?
Yeah, some people are using layer masks. I don't even know what that is. Like, I use a very old school, like basic way of coloring where you just use like 2 or 3 layers and then you just add effects on other layers where other people can like mask. They make these masks and they can just like lay a whole bunch of color down at one time. I'm like, I have no clue.
I know it's amazing what they do. Yeah, I sat there and I did coloring on these. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
I made one of the Kickstarter when you reach certain goals was stretch goals. I did
reading cards. What's it like?
Tarot cards.
Yeah,
and I did but I made them small, mini tarot cards is what I call them, and everything's deal with blood. Even though it's flesh, they eat flesh, but everything's called blood. There's 5 of them. Ones went back to print. Actually, all these had to go back to print because they offset the back or something, and it wouldn't cut right, or I didn't have a trim around it. So I just got them in, and I just started trimming them. Let's see which one I didn't show. So these are 4 of them, and so what I did was I looked at tarot cards and kind of put our characters on there, and everybody's loving these, and they want a whole set. So I might NECA Cannibal Campers 2. I might have, I think it's 72 cards. I might add to these and be part of the tier because I go crazy on tiers. I got all kinds of things.
Stretch goals. I realized I just was crazy on stretch goals. I made them too easy to get to, so now I'm like killing myself. Like I have tons of stuff over here, that's ready to go, waiting for books. But like one thing was this 11x17 print, and I don't know what I was thinking when I ordered it. I ordered one. I ordered like there was only, I don't even know. I have a list. I didn't really the tier that those came in. I might have sold a handful, 10 maybe, and me at that point. When I got home from the first surgery, I'm still on drugs and everything, and I'm painkilled. Then I'm ordering stuff, and I ordered enough of those 11x17 prints for everybody who got a physical book. So I've got a stack of prints. Like I was like, thank God I have
and you can't really sell them,
Yeah, I was like, thank God I got a con coming up in May, because anyone who buys the book, I'm just going to give it to them because I was like, because I couldn't figure out. I was like, why is these prints so expensive? And then when they came, I was like, oh my God.
Oh, that's why.
I ordered 100. It was 200 of them.
Well, same thing with these cards. I have 120 of them, and then they misprinted them, and so now I got 120 more. So
Hey, Travis. I actually have the page. I'll have it for you tomorrow. I was doing all kinds of crap, and Omni. I'm just waiting for some more pages to come back. I've the one story I sent it off to the letterer, so we'll have that story back, and I can't wait to show people. I mean, it was crazy. Like this is the first time I've ever had other people do work for me. Usually, I'm one of those people who like I'll just do everything myself kind of person. First time I've hired someone else to do anything, and it's nerve wracking because I'm like waiting for stuff to come back. I'm like, come on, come on, come on, come on. But
We
yeah, and then but to save to like bide time, I've added 7 pages to Omni. So Travis has, I think, the only original copy of Omni in the wild.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
Yeah, I have a backup. I have a backup page too on Naked Cannibal Campers. It's Amanda Rachel's. She does what is it? The circus one. I'm trying to think of the circus one. Anyways, she did a backup story.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I know you can't see it because I'm trying to show you, but it's a 4-page backup story. She wrote it. She even, I mean, I had it colored already, and then that just came back. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So we're she did amazing. She did 2 covers for us too. She did what is it? The director said that was one of his favorites. It looks like Disney Gone Bad.
I like that. That is a different art style for that type of book, and that kind of like sets off like in my backup stories. I don't know if Greg. I always screw up his name. Warrencheck, something like that. I've worked with Greg a lot over the years, like different things, and he did one of the backup stories, and I know Greg's style isn't really superhero-y, but I mean, this backup story really isn't superhero-y anyways. It's kind of it's a debut of a villain. It's for a tier that someone had backed where they got to create a character.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So I actually have 2 of those backup stories, and then one of the stretch goals. Once we got funded, I had already said I'd add like 4 pages, right off the bat. So it ended up being 5 because the way the story ended up, I ended up breaking up the 1 page because it's like it should in the Omni world. There's this comic book called Mega that's from the 70s, and in the story that that I had written, they show a page from that comic book, and I have a friend whose art style is very Kirby-esque, like it looks very
cool. Yeah.
And so I was like, as soon as I see it's an old book, I gotta have them do that page just because I didn't want it to be done by the same artist who was doing the modern day stuff, because then it just would look, So I was like I have to have somebody whose art looks like it's, older stuff. So I got a hold of Nathan and him and his wife, and I met them a couple years ago at a con. They're from the Pittsburgh area, so it was. As soon as I contacted them, they're like, "Oh, and I even forgot that they had backed the book until I was going through the backer list one day. I was like, "Oh, they backed the book too." So, I think I've got at least 9, 10, maybe 12 different creators just on those backup stories, from the writers to the artists to the colorists and the letterers.
And that's a job in itself. That's a job in itself, trying to get all that organized.
Yeah, and especially when I told you, I do it usually myself. Like on Omni, it's written by L.C. Holt, so he wrote it, and then I did everything else. Like I did the art, I colored it, I lettered it, and but I ain't lettering any other ones. So I'm done lettering. I realized, I tried it, and I'll do it for like my own stuff, like Project 34, which is another one of my books, and I do all that myself. I wrote it, I do all that. So I'll probably keep lettering that just because it's kind of like my baby, So, but other than that, I'm gonna start taking some load off of me. So I have we have another book coming out called Fall from Grace, that
Okay.
all I did is came up with the concept, and I got a writer and an artist. This is years in the making, and now that was going to be the next thing I send to Kickstarter. The first book is like 60 pages. It's a different. It's a superhero story, but it's a different kind of. I always try to put some spins on my superhero stories. So we're just we originally put it out. I have like the original. I have all the books I've worked on. I have over here in a pile somewhere off my bookshelf, so I can I'm the worst at remembering things. Like my own characters, I can't remember their costumes, so I have to pull them out every once in a while.
Oh yeah. I've drawn panels. I've drawn panels, and I'm like, wait a minute, that ain't what Sookie looks like. I got to redraw that.
Yeah. See, these are the first 2 issues. Now I gotta I always hate doing this because this is the first.
Yeah, I know you can't pull them up. Yeah.
The second one. But,
oh wow, cool.
That was like one of my first coloring jobs. Nice. I wanted to just figure out some way to, and so I just really just took this green and I left all the rest black and white, because our original plan was for the book to be in black and white.
Black and white.
Yeah, but so I put out these, and they're only like 10 pages, so I had them for like $250. They're only 10 pages. And then the artist, I always mess up his name because Roy H. Stewart. He's from the UK. He came back to me when we were getting ready. He's like, "Did you finish those yet?" I said, "No, we didn't do the 3rd book yet." And he's like, "Well, don't, because I want to change some pages." So he some of these he totally redrew in the new stuff. This first page is totally different. Even though I like this page, he totally redrew it. And so a lot of this now is colored, but I didn't do it bright superhero-y color. Right. It's mainly all greens because it's like a color we tried to keep throughout the whole book.
Oh, nice. That's cool. That's unique.
Yeah. So it's a totally different coloring style than I'm used to. So it's been taking me a little bit. And then this one, I tried to do kind of the same thing as the first one.
Oh, nice.
But I used the yellow instead,
Nice layout too. Yeah.
Yeah. Roy's really good. And if you notice this symbol, it's through all
he puts it in the story, in the page. Yeah. That's really unique. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's all just black and white, and it was 10 pages. So the first now see, this is one thing, because there was pages missing. So before we went to print, I drew some of the pages, and then Roy's like, "Wait, those aren't my pages." I was like, "Yeah, because you didn't send me those pages, so I had to draw them so I could get the book printed." So the art totally changes there, and that's when I realized that my art is not good for black and white. It needs to be colored compared to his.
It looks nice. It looks nice. So it still looks good.
Yeah. So, and this is a book that I did that never came out yet. I had the whole thing done, and then my computer crashed, and I lost the whole book.
Oh man, yeah.
So I've been fighting to do it, and so here's the unreleased Omni. I'm just that is not that was the original cover.
Yeah.
That never came out.
Never did it. Never came out. That looks good.
I mean, it's printed, but I changed. Whenever I did the new Kickstarter, Travis was asking me, why don't you use the old covers? I was like, because that was a failed Kickstarter from 4 years ago. I want this to be totally new. Everything's new. And I'll show you one of the pages if I can find it real quick. I probably won't be able to find it quick. Okay. Now this is one of the pages I was not happy with. This is where you meet the villain from this story. His name's Melton.
Okay.
And I have him being defeated on the very next page. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
The way it was written, I was like, that's kind of lame. So I took those 2 pages and spread it out to 7 pages of story.
Yeah.
So the only thing I kept off of this page was this very first panel,
Yeah.
and then on this last page, I kept like the bottom half. So every other 7 pages happened between those 2
Panels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we're right at the end, and we wrote the book out, and then I've redrawn stuff. I know how it is. It's like you want to add, you want to I mean, you know, Vince is. Thank God Vince is a cool guy, because I mean he wrote. You know, we kind of talked about, discussed what we want. We kind of did a layout. You know, kind of a layout of words, what the story is, and then Vince kind of wrote it, and he's an unbelievable writer. Then he wrote the story, and then as I was drawing it, I go, "Oh, this would be cool. Oh, this would be cool. Oh, this would be cool." and then so the time we went from, you know, like one scene went from like 1 or 2, you know, panels to 3 pages of fighting, you know, and I'm like, "Oh, this would be funny, or this would be," and Vince is like, "Okay, how do you want to do this?"
yeah.
I said, no, I want to keep it the same story. So help me out here. So yeah, so he's been you know, we're trying to get it, because it might even be longer than what we wanted. It's a 24 pages. Then you got the 4-page backup story, but we might go 25, 26, because, you know, we want to make sure it works out to open you up to the next story.
Yeah.
So I know how you feel. It's like, especially now, I slowed down because we were trying to rush it and try to get it out there, but I slowed down to make sure the story is going to fit, and it's going to be, and again, when we rushed it, we wasn't going to make it where it would be understandable, but we wanted to kind of get a lot of things in there that, you know, like one of the scenes is funny. We're keeping the cheesiness of the movie into the book too. Like in the background, you see like a Bigfoot walking on one of the panels. I mean, it's real super tiny. It's about that big.
Yeah, it's just like
yeah, and then
another
another one of the scenes. They just drank some blood, and then their powers are getting, and they're kind of dancing around. And then if you look, there's shelving, and the back of the shelving, one of the top is a Predator mask and a Jason's mask.
Nice.
On the so we're kind of keeping the cheesiness of the movie. Like the Warlock is Dougie the Warlock, and his dad died when he was young, and he was a big, powerful warlock, but he learned all his stuff from like TV. So like there's one scene where y'all just entered the dragon, and he posed like Bruce Lee, and went, "Woo!" And then they're like, "What? They're like, he's like, Bruce Lee." But yeah, it's going to be kind of serious, gory,
but not,
but cheesy. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a funny, but again, with a great special effects. But I know what you're saying. You kind of go from here to here to here. I look at my Return to Cinder, and I go, "Oh, I could have done more here."
Yeah.
But luckily, we got the opportunity to do Return to Cinder #2. Is going to be cool, because not only we're going to have the standard story, but we already got a 10-page backup story from David Gala. I can't pronounce it. Yeah,
I know
he did a really cool story, and I think Vince is going to draw it, or we're going to have someone else draw it. I'm pretty sure Vince is. And then, like you're saying, old school covers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Vince is we're going to do one cover that Vince wants to do, and he wants to do it like an old Jack Kirby style, with you know, Return to Cinder punching a monster or something, you know, something cool. But yeah, we, you know, I guess we all think alike when we're all big fans of superhero comic books, not horror comics. But no, I'm a fan of horror comics too. But
I'm a fan of all comics, really. But
it doesn't matter what, as long as it appeals to me. I love comics. I mean, I love reading them. So I just, this whole year though is the first year in probably 10, 20 years that I haven't collected any comic books but Indiegogo.
Wow.
Or not Indiegogo, but Indie Comics.
Yeah, Indie Comics.
Yeah, I'm done. Nothing, no comic books, no Batman, no Wolverine, no X-Men, you know, Superman. I was all that. And
I can't help but get X-Men. I mean, that's my. I have. I started back when I was. Well, I don't even know. I want to say it was issue 151 of Uncanny. 150. I don't know. I just remember when I was a kid, I'd go to this grocery store. We had this little grocery store by our house where my mom would go grocery shopping, and they would have comic books, but they're never like you can never guarantee you'd have the same one every month. You know, it would seem like whatever they put out is what they had.
Right, and
And
those racks.
yeah, well, this wasn't even. They didn't even have the spinner rack. This was just like on like where they put magazines, and there would
Okay.
just be like a couple random comics thrown in there. But I could almost always guarantee to get GI Joe, and that was like my in the comics was GI Joe, and that was only because at the time I grew up with all sisters, so it took me a long time to get into things because we didn't have cable till I was older. Like we just lived places where we didn't have cable, and so I didn't get to see much. And I knew GI Joe from the cartoon because I watched it when I got home from school or whatever.
Oh yeah, I love that cartoon.
And then I had a friend. I just remember like it was. I was going into 6th grade and he was going into 7th grade, and we rode the bus, but we never talked. Like, it was just like we lived near each other, but it was just one day, like the last day of school, he's like, "I'm going to come down tomorrow," and I'm like, "Okay, whatever. I don't even know you." You know what I mean? And the next day, I hear someone knocking on the door, and my mom's like, "Jimmy, someone's here for you." And I go out, and there's my friend, Joe. It's his garbage bag full of GI Joe toys, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I told you I was going to come down." I was like, "Okay." So, his family had a little bit of money, and so he had everything at GI Joe. Like, if it came out, he got it. Like, I remember he had the aircraft carrier,
Oh,
all that. Like, the biggest thing I got was the terror drone. I remember one Christmas, I just told my mom and dad, I was like, "If you get that for me, I would never ask for anything else." And this is the difference of toys back then. You know how much that thing cost brand new? $49.99. The stinking playset was like giant.
oh wow.
Now today it would probably cost $300 new.
Oh yeah.
Easily. But so that's how I got into it. And so the one day we went grocery shopping, I went to pick up GI Joe and they didn't have it. So I'm like, "Oh, what comic book am I gonna get now? I don't know I don't read anything else." I mean, I would read Batman here or there, but I never bought it. It was like my mom would get comic books from like the Goodwill store or something and like bring me a pile of them home or something like that. And so I was flipping through this X-Men comic book. And the only thing I even knew about X-Men is they were on an episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That was the extent of my knowledge of the X-Men. So I pick up this book, and
Wolverine sounded like he was from Australia.
Yeah, which evidently he is. That we know now that Wolverine is actually from Australia. But so I picked up this book, and the first cover has Spider-Man like he's like almost being crucified, and he's all bloody, and his costume's all torn, and there's just all these other superheroes like. But they didn't look right. They were all in these weird outfits and stuff. And I was like, "Well, I got to see what's going on." So I took it back to my mom. It was like 55 cents or whatever. And I read it, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing. Now I need to get the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one." And now here it is, 40 years later, and I'm still buying X-Men every month. So that's like, even though when they got terrible, I still had to like, buy them. Like I go to my comic book store, but like we don't have one locally. I got to go about an hour away. And
wow!
And I went to get a subscription service, and I just wrote down all X-Men books, and they call me. We can't get you all the X-Men books. You need to tell us exactly which one. I'm like, "I'm telling you, I want all of them every month. Everything the X-Men comes out, you put it in my box. I'm gonna buy it." And like, "We need a list of exactly which one because we're not going to order it unless you're going to buy it." I'm like, "Seriously?" So I was like, "You know what? It's not worth me to drive an hour and then you not have my book." And I can't even drive an hour. I have to like take a bus or whatever. So I found like a place online where I got a discount, and I just get them sent to my house every month. So
wow! Yeah.
It's mycomicbookstore.com or something. So you
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then you can buy back issue because there's like some stuff that I missed. So I was like, just order them on there.
I'll tell you the coolest thing in my X-Men stories. Of course, I started getting the X-Men, and then Then I went to
I
a
have
flea
X-Men.
market. I have Richard Cinder shirt. Um, but I went to a flea market, right? I mean, my mom was telling me, let's go to the flea market. Mom, I don't want to go to the flea market. She always goes to every store. Well, they had this bookstore. And I'm like, I don't want to go to a bookstore. She goes, I think they got comic books in the back. I asked the lady, yeah, we got comic books for 25 cents. If you
Oh,
buy 5, we'll give you 1 free. I said, okay. I went back there and they were loaded with X-Men. I got X-Men annual, king size annual #1. I got the first appearance of X-Men in the X-Men comic book, which was the next one, the next
yeah.
storyline. I mean, I got all these old ones. Then lo and behold, John Byrne. I went, holy cow, what is this? Who is drawing this? This looks really cool. I started looking at it, and then of course I gathered up about a bunch of like $20 worth of books. And my mom says, no, you're not getting all. I'll do whatever it takes. Let me have these. Come to find out, that king size annual #1 at that time was worth $100.
Yeah.
And at that time, and then I wound up selling it, and stupid me, when I graduated.
Yeah, we all
I sold.
stuff.
Yeah, well, I sold all my comic books. I actually bought a house when I was, when I graduated, and I put a down payment on my house because I sold my comic books. But yeah, that one I got for $300. I got $300 for it. Now it's what, $10,000?
Yeah.
Or $8,000, something like that. It was like, oh man, I could have kept it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was. I mean, I had what is it? The first appearance of Blade, Dracula. I mean, I had a whole stack of comics, and all from 25 cents. And then I bought 5 and got 1 free. And I had probably, I had almost $20 worth. I wound up able to do $15 worth of stuff. And I had a whole stack. But at the time, the Dracula one wasn't worth nothing. Even years down the road, it wasn't. Now it's worth a lot, but
yeah,
it wasn't worth nothing. But now I was like, man, I wish I had that still, because that was kind of cool. Blade, first appearance of Blade, and here's this guy throwing knives. It was not swords back then. It was wooden knives. So it was kind of cool. But that was my X-Men story. That I was collecting X-Men, but then I didn't know about the back history of it. With the John Byrne.
Yeah.
I wound up almost having all the John Byrne artwork. I started collecting like crazy, and now I'm kind of slowly gathering everything back, from at a higher cost.
Yeah. Well, I got lucky. Like, I had lost a lot of my collection through years of things, and so I decided I wanted to try to get some of the. First, I was like, you know what, I'm going to start with the '90s X-Men. I'm going to start there, and I got lucky. I went on eBay. And someone had like almost the whole run of that '90s of X-Men, just X-Men. Started with Jim Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like issue 1. I think it goes to like 103 or 130, something like that. And there was some issues missing, but they had it up. The opening bid was 99 cents. I was like, all right, I'll do that. I think I ended up paying with shipping. I think I ended up paying less than $3 for almost that whole run. And then I just had to. I went to that local comic book store, and they have a dollar bin. I sat there, and I'm going through their X-Men, and I'm just and I literally was there for hours, and I sorted their whole like X-Men section. So it's like I put all the Uncanny together, and I got out everything I needed, and then some other stuff. Like I was like, oh look, they have some, X-Force #1 still in the pack.
I got that still. Yeah.
For like $1. And now, if you have the one with the Deadpool card in it, it like skyrocketed a few months ago for some reason.
Oh, I got to check and see which one I got now.
And
I got 2 of them.
So I got a bunch of those, and then like anything I ended up still needing like 2 issues to fill that run, and it was like issue 21 and 22, and it was nothing. Like it was like those books that are just like, I wouldn't even care about this. So I had to go on eBay and like search to find. I ended up having to spend like $3 for one of them and like $4 or $5 for the other one. So I was still like, I got this whole run for less. I mean, I literally paid less than $1 a book for that whole X-Men run. Yeah, so I'm like, so now I'm trying to do the
Nice.
uncanny from then, but those are a little bit more expensive for some reason. Like even
Yeah.
like from that time where they split the teams. So I think it's like uncanny, um, one like almost 200. Maybe it's I don't remember, but it's when I can never say his name. Whatever his name took over uncanny when
Yeah.
JD went to. So I tried to like start there, and even those because Bishop was introduced like in that issue, so it's like the first appearance of Bishop, so it makes the book like sky high. And I'm like, why are these
Oh,
other ones like? There's nothing really goes on in these books like to make
yep.
worth that much, but
It's crazy what goes up and what goes down. You just don't realize. I looked through my books one year, and 5 years later, I look through them again, and then I go, wait a minute, that one might be worth something now because of this. And I look, yeah, sure enough, it's gone up. So
like,
yeah, it's fun. I did sell my Deadpool a year before the movie came out, and I regretted it.
yeah.
I got
Uh,
$100 for it, and I turned around now. I don't know how much it's worth it now, but it went up to what 2,000 or something like that for a while, and then I think it's come back down now. But I
I
was
have
like, oh,
I have a book down there. I was just going through like a website the one day where you can buy stuff, and there was this issue of Teen Titans from just like 4 years ago, and it was selling for well over $100. I'm like,
which one? I got it.
that's what I was like. Wait a second, I think I have that. When I'm looking, and I was like, yeah, it is. Like it was just a book from my pull list because I was reading Teen Titans at the time, and it's like
Yeah,
down
I
in
like.
my pile. It's just like so. I pull it out and I'm like, yep, I have it. And I'm like, now why is this book worth so much? And I start looking, and if it's graded at a 9.8, it's selling for like $650, and it's only like
Wow.
40. I'm like, then I like started researching it, and it's like the first appearance of that the Batman Who Laughs,
Oh,
and I'm like, oh
yeah,
well,
that's way up there now.
yeah, I'm like, well, that makes sense, but I'm like, I didn't. It was because it was just like a one-off story, like it wasn't even like part of the main story of
Yeah, I
Teen
didn't.
Titans, so I didn't even like really care about it. I'm like, go in my pile.
Yeah, I didn't get any of those. Really, I got some of them. Again, I stopped, for the whole year now, and I don't have a lot of comic books. I got, a lot of our group's comic books,
Yeah.
the ones that are kind of in our groups. But yeah, I just, it's hard to keep up with everything and do those
Mm-hmm.
things. But I plan on doing that, but I saved a lot of money, and I was able to put it towards helping the comic book stuff,
Yep.
because you got to pay as you know as well as being a creator, it's not free. It doesn't come, even if you do a lot yourself. I mean, I do the drawing, the inking. um you know
Yeah.
think I got a good partner named Vince. He helps me out with a lot of stuff. Um but yeah, it's like you're not only the artist, writer, inker. you know you're the producer, you're the
Marketer. You're
marketer, you're
every
the podcaster.
PR.
You're
Do
everything
everything.
you can do. And it's like and doing that in a full-time job, it's hard. But I look at this. I was talking, luckily I got a really supportive wife.
Mm.
And she's how Vince Test says this about his wife, and so I stole it. She's not into comic books, but she's into David, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's
Yeah.
into me. So I mean, she's always there supporting me and throwing, allowing me to do crazy things like, honey, I really want to pay these people ahead of time before because we want to get this done. She's,
Yep.
okay, all right, let's do it. And so she's a good person. She's good.
Yeah.
I follow my dreams. And so I've always been that guy that followed his dreams. I might be late on this dream, but
Mm-hmm.
a bit like when I was younger. I sneak in. Me and friends of mine snuck in and did tower climbing. And then when I turned about 17 or something, I started working with a tower company on the summers, and
Mm-hmm.
then wind up being a tower working for the tower company. And then but that wasn't one of my dreams. Another dream is like, I always loved wrestling. And the next thing I know, I joined wrestling. I wrestled in high school, and I was 6th state of Florida amateur wrestling. And then I went to start training with Malenko for professional
Oh
wrestling.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I wind up on WCW. So, I did that for about 2 years, then wrestled locally in Florida for another 10 years after that.
Nice.
But if you find your dreams are not your dream, not really what you want. I love wrestling, but I didn't like the traveling. So that's why I stopped and wrestled locally after that.
I had a friend who went to wrestling school. Like I went through osmosis. This is what happened. We were going. I don't know if you're the Pittsburgh area. We used to be NWA East that was here.
Yep.
Corey Graves, that's where he came from.
Okay.
And I mean, there's some other guys. Right now, on AEW, what the heck's that guy's name? The big guy that's with MJF. He came through. He's from there.
Okay. I don't watch wrestling now.
but so he was going to wrestling school, and I would go with him. So I just sit there and watch them all, like just practice, teach them stuff, and then we'd go home, and he would like practice on me. So So, that's how I learned to wrestle, like by, helping him train to wrestle. But then he got the whole way through, and when it's time to start matches, he decided he didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, it's a big step going on a match in front of people.
I'm like, dude, you just spent all that money and you beat the crap out of. Like, there's this one big fat guy, Kid Cupid, and he would just smash him week after week, just because he could not wrestle worth a dang. But the fans loved him. He was just this big, sloppy, fat guy. And it was just he couldn't do any moves. He'd fall on top of you. It'd just be terrible. But so I always tell everybody I got to learn wrestling through osmosis. So
I had a lot of friends. I had a lot of friends come out for wrestling, and a lot of them walked away.
Yeah.
First day, they were like, "I ain't doing that. That's crazy." People say it's fake and all that, but you can't. What you can't fake is gravity. So if I pick you up and throw you on the ground, even though you're trained and you learn and you have done it 1,000 times, I'm still throwing you on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you do a flip and you land on the ground, you're still landing on the ground. And most people that's never done it. I did some ultimate fighting stuff too and all that. And how I learned it, if you've never been punched in the face, don't fight, because it's stunning. It stuns you. You're like, oh, wait a minute. What happened? I know a lot of people who out there thinks they're good fighters, but when, they make a totally different decision when they get hit in the face. They're like, wait a minute. Whoa, wait. Oh, I don't know what to do. So, and the same thing with wrestling. When you I say, Malenko did he goes, okay, we're going to learn body slams. And he goes, okay, here's how you do a body slam. He showed us how to do a body slam. And then you worked it up and you did a body slam on each person. And they said, okay, y'all teamed up. All right, those are your teammates. Now you got to do 1,000, go. And then walk away. Mm-hmm. The next day, you don't get up. You don't wake up in the morning, just lay there in bed. And it's like, fighters that punch bags or punch walls, their knuckles get really tough and really hard. They can punch a wall. But if you're never fought or never punched a wall and you punch a wall, you're going to break your hand. Same thing when you get thrown to the ground. If you get picked up and slammed, you're going to lose all your air. You're not going to be able to, you're going to say, okay, give me a minute, 1 minute.
Well,
okay.
The thing I always thought was funny is when you run the ropes. Now, people think that those things are like rubber bands or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I told everybody, no, they're metal cables with tape around them is what they are. You would have hamburgers.
They leave burns under your arm. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
And people's like, oh, these are like rubber band. No, they're not. They're metal cable wrapped with tape is all they are.
Well, and people don't realize that. And and again, once you start, you're all bruised up underneath your arms. You're bruised up everywhere. But again, your body gets used to it. Your body can get used to amazing things. Yeah. And so your body gets used to it. Next thing you know, you're hitting the ropes and you're hitting them hard, and you're not, you don't realize, your body's like, I can take it, get harder, do it again,
Do it again.
and yeah, and again, like you're saying, all my friends, every single friend I've had, always saw that, always got a hold. I got a hold of them. They were like, "Oh yeah, let me show you this. Let me show you that." And then me having the wrestling background, and then the fighting background, and then also the professional wrestling background. I did bouncing. I've done all kinds of things, and knowing that I back then, to know a little bit of mixed martial arts and a little bit of a lot of professional wrestling, or a lot of amateur wrestling, a lot of professional wrestling, to be able to maneuver somebody. I never saw I was the toughest guy in the room. I'm 6'4". I'm 200 right now. I'm 200 or 316 pounds, but I was always around 260, 250, and I was always in pretty good shape. I could always run 5 miles and do a lot of training and all that. So when I was never the toughest guy in the room, I always said that, but I was the most trained guy in the room. And nowadays, since the NW, or the NW, but since now that the Ultimate Fighting's out there, you can there's gyms on every street corner, and now there's a lot of killers out there, trained killers out there. It ain't like it used to be. It used to be I could, no matter how tough you are, I could grab a hold of you. I got you, but now there's a lot of killers out there. If you grab a hold of them, you're in trouble.
No doubt. Like you said, but I forget what I was going to say. I have a question. This is something I always like to know. How did you get into comics? Like the actual, what was the story? Like, because there's always something that makes you decide, now I'm going to start trying to make my own comic books.
Okay, it was I've drawn all my life. I'm sure you've drawn all your life. I could tell because the way I see.
My mom said I could draw before I could talk. So
yeah, that's it. That's it. My mom could draw too, but then she's like said I outdid her. Well, I drew this one picture of this guy, how he's got this comic going. I drew this one. I was trying different techniques. I was listening to podcasting because I started driving again. I was in management for years. And then logistics management for years. And then I turned into, they restructured management. And then, I was there 20 years and I was like, okay. So I left. And then my wife said, don't be a manager anymore because you're constantly having to do this, do that. So I went and started driving. And I was listening to podcasts, Jim Lee drawing, talking about comic books, Kevin Smith. I was listening to all these things I've never got to listen to. And I was like, oh my God, listen to this. And it inspired me. So I started on my breaks looking at techniques. Excuse me. I started looking at techniques and like you're saying, just watching tutorials. And so I started drawing right along with them. And look at this inking, because I was a penciler. I was always afraid of inking because I didn't have an eraser. Yeah. And now we have through the podcast, and I learned that you got whiteout. Yeah. So I started doing this drawings on my breaks, and I did this one guy walking with a duffel bag with his hat down, a cowboy hat down, covering his eyes with a gun on his hip, but it looked modern, but he looked like he was hitchhiking the rain, and it was black and it was raining, and I was doing the whiteout technique with it splattering on the shoulder too. And my daughter is an artist, and she's amazing, and I'm trying to get her to open up and stand out. But I sat down with her and I said, look at this one, and I showed her that one. I look at this raining technique, that's kind of cool. And she goes, oh, that reminds me of an idea. And she started telling me her idea, and then I started adding stuff to it. Next thing you know, Return to Cinder started coming out. Yeah. And then so we come up with this kind of basic story about this post officer that would deliver mail, but yet he would fight monsters, and I'm like, wow, this would be cool. And so here this idea came out. That's and she's in the comic as co-creator because me and her created it
Huh.
together. But it was so cool that we both kind of went wow, and then again it took its own legs and ran a different way. And then I got other people involved, and yeah, she is an amazing artist. I got other people involved, and then you would like her artwork, by the way,
Yeah.
because it's a little anime, but it's just so
I like
detailed. It's so amazing. It's just unreal.
some of my favorite artists are like the American anime style
Yeah,
stuff, like
that's what she's like.
John Boy Myers and Joe Madrea. I wish I could draw like that. Like I trying to like some of my art. I tell people like I draw stuff. This is me trying to practice my American anime style. I won't usually do a book like that right now, but I might do a character or something in it.
Yeah, I'm you know I'm really it's really hard for me to do anime, but I love anime. I love watching it. I love
Yeah.
I love the stories and they're really unique. But yeah, it turned out that way. Then I got a couple of friends that helped out. That kind of I drew the comic book out,
Mm-hmm.
and then they helped with a little bit of the story. They couldn't get the long of the lines how I wanted it, how I wanted the pace of it, and I wanted it like a detective type feel, how he describes things, and so I took a little bit of what they did and I just wrote the story out. And Vince kind of helped me out a little bit there, and of course I still gave them credit because they still helped out as writers,
Yeah.
and so it's this. It created this whole new world that I'm excited to go back to because don't get me wrong, I think Naked Cannibal Campers 2 will bring more money, but it's not about the money, it's about the love of it,
Yep.
And I love Naked Cannibal Campers 2 or Naked Cannibal Campers because it's something that since I got full creative control, me and Vince are taking we're taking us into a whole new world. So we're not, I'm an avid camper. We camp. We got a travel trailer. We don't camp. We glamp.
Yeah,
My
I
wife
was
calls
gonna
it
say.
glamping.
I say that's not
Yeah,
camping.
yeah. No. We got 4 TVs. It's not camping.
Yeah.
So
We got running water in a toilet. It's not camping.
yeah. We got a walk-in shower. But no, we don't. But we do have a stand-up shower. But that's because that's normal. That's what all of them have. It's we go camping. It's kind of funny that I got this deal because we're going camping. We're campers, and so it's funny. It's like when we go camping, I go, oh, I'm going to go check out this because the story's in Florida, and we're in Florida, and we go camping all over Florida. I'm going to go check out this wilderness and see if there's any Naked Cannibal Campers there. I did a little skit on my last one. I'm here in this area, and I'm looking for campers. Look at this. Had some guy had skulls and bones and stuff, but I love the idea of that creating something. Now it's like a rush to when you create something from nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I had something. I have the movie, and the movie's good. It's got a good base. It's just what's cool about it is that talking to the directors, they're going, "This is what we would want to do."
Yeah.
If we had the budget, and then some of the actors going, we shouldn't have done the movie. We should have let them do the comic book and then did the movie from the comic book.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, because it started it all. This is where it's going to go. And there actually might be a Naked Cannibal Campers movie number 2 because of us.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're they're in talks. Not me. I'm not nothing to do with it. They're in talks. I think two of the actresses are a little hesitant or whatever, but we're gonna Sean said if he does it, we'll all get together and talk about it. So
Doesn't
that way
mean there can't be any other naked cannibals.
Oh no.
Doesn't have to be those two. Like they can be replaced.
Well, one of them is Stan, and it's Michael's favorite camper, Suki. She said she would do it, and I said, well, that's exactly right. I said, we're creating a whole new coven of witches.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're adding to the story. It's not just going to be these 3 or 4 or whatever, but it's going to be this whole new world. So, we're bringing from other countries and stuff. Eventually, it's going to be. We want it bigger than real life. You know what I'm saying? We want it. It's going to step out of the camping world, and but it's going to have its roots in the camping world, but it's going to be doing it. We're taking it further. So again, the movie might come out now, and it might be,
Mm-hmm.
we might have a little bit of flair on it. Let's put it that, a little bit of taste from us on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I'm excited to see if that happens, because that would be another step that you're kind of excited about. That I know we're creating a comic book from a movie, but it'd be cool if the number 2 movie is a little bit around our comic book. Kind of a little play from them taking us to this. Another thing, we got some exciting kind of not it's not 100% or anything like that, but a toy company is talking to us about doing little comic books with their toys.
Nice.
We're in talks. It's not even nowhere close to being, but I got the card right over there.
Yeah.
So so it's kind of cool there. And then we got a couple other comic book, or a couple other movie companies that wants us to do other. We got like three now that are in talks with us about, hey, we want to talk to you about, one of them's in about 3 months. We're going to sit down and talk. Same thing with the toy company. We're going to talk about 3 months. And so
Nice.
because the toy brand that they're coming out with, and this is going to love, you're going to love this. It's going to be a playoff of He-Man.
Oh.
But it's not going to be nowhere near, but it's going to be a playoff of He-Man kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
that's right. What's up, man? What's up, Phil?
yeah.
But
Excuse me. Yeah, I I'm my brother here. He says this is my brother. I'm happy you're finally getting this done. I've only been telling you since we were kids. Well, yeah, like
that's my whole family. What?
Yeah.
Why haven't you been doing this?
Yeah, and I was like, well, because I was trying to do like real work, like stuff I knew would pay the bills, not like this. But it was, I guess, 6 years ago now. Like I was almost forced into it with my health and stuff. I couldn't work, so I had to find a way to make some money. And so this is my first comic book. I didn't do the cover. I colored it, and that was my way of always coloring at that point. And I did not know Photoshop at the time. This was colored in GIMP, if you know what GIMP is. It's a free version.
Yep, I heard that.
So this is my first.
I was actually told that just the other day about that.
Yeah,
the other day.
I only use it to make my word balloons now. That's the only thing I use.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but this was my first book, and it's available. I still have it available, but I ask people not to buy it because it's terrible. I mean, the writing's not. It's written by Stephen Kelly. This is actually a book I started back in like 96 or 97. I used to work as a security guard, and I'd actually done like 6 issues of it. I'd written it, drawn it, and everything while sitting at work. And I didn't know back then there was no like Kablam or something where you could go and get it printed. So I'm like, I got 6 issues of this comic book, but now I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So I would take it to the office because I worked at a plant. I was a security guard at a plant. I'd take the pages down to the office printer because it was big enough, and I would scan. I would like print the pages and make my own little books out of
Oh
paper.
yeah.
And I'd give them to people to read or whatever.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I just been thinking about this. If you go to Indiegogo soon with your comic book,
yeah,
I will do something drawing for you for free, and you can use it any way you want. Like it could be a special Indiegogo pinup, or it could be a cover, however you want me to do it. But I'll do it for free because you're missing out on some money because it's all you have to do is just set it up, and you already got the money to print, and you're just missing out. I mean, we're only at $661, but it's it's a way to since you're going to print, you're not at print yet. It's a way to boost it up a little more. It's a way to give give yourself more. So whenever you want to, I will sit down and do something for you because I love your character. So I'm jonesing to draw it.
Oh,
so
I'm always up for people drawing my characters.
Oh, I'll do it for free too because you just give me a couple, give me comic books for it. That's all I want. Some comic books, but but I'll do that for you because I love your character. I think it's really cool. He, he's dynamic, and I love drawing the superhero stuff. It's just all my pinups and all my prints are superheroes, which I'm so glad I went to a con my first time ever, and it was a horror con. It was Tampa Bay Screams, first time ever. I was the only comic book people there. There was a lady there. There's a couple people there. There's a lady there that wrestled in WCW too. There was a couple other people there, but she had comic books, but it was because she was part of them, of the comic books.
Yeah,
they used her likeness.
Yeah.
But we did really good, and people were waiting, excited to. I wish I had my goal was to have it printed up by then, but like I said, real life hits you.
I have a horrible con story about that too.
But we're gonna knock it out. We're gonna get this done though, hopefully in a week and a half. I'm hoping, or 2 weeks tops, and it's gonna be ready to print. I'm hoping. So I'm so ready.
Yeah, it was, I guess, probably 4 years ago. And I'm trying to think, 3-4 years ago. Me and my son. Well, yeah, it had to be 4 years ago because he just turned 19. I'm terrible. After you have after you've had 2 brain surgeries, your memory is just horrible. But anyway, he was 16 at the time, and so we went to this con in Maryland, and I can't think what it's called. But anyway, I won't name the con, but it was in Maryland, and it was in like a skating rink, an actual roller skating rink that he had rented.
Did you have to skate out to your
booth? No. But did you ever notice the lighting in a skating rink? It's
horrible.
Yeah. So it's kind of dark the whole time we're in this con. And it's only, 4 aisles maybe. And our table is right across like the celebrities. Right across, so we're right across from the Power Rangers. And there was a couple people from The Walking Dead were there and stuff. And so I had my book, Project 34. The first issue was to be out. I was supposed to debut it at the con. Well, I had to leave Friday because the con was just Saturday and Sunday. So I had and the books weren't there before I left Friday. They showed up Saturday. So I have this giant printer. It's like an office printer. And the reason I bought it is because I needed, at the time I was working with DC. I was doing coloring and stuff for them. But I needed a big scanner. And a flatbed scanner nowadays, if you go to buy one, they're like a couple $100.
Yeah.
A few years ago, you couldn't give them away. You'd go to the Goodwill store and find like 12 of them.
Right.
And now they're a couple $100. You can't find them. So I bought this printer for a couple $100 because I could print 11 by 17. I was like, well, now I don't need to go to a printer and get my prints printed. I can just take the printer with me. And if someone buys a print, I can print it right there. And so I took this printer with me, and I didn't have any power at the con. So I have this giant printer. So in the hotel room, Saturday night, I am printing out this comic book myself, just like one copy to take to the con. Because Saturday I didn't sell anything, not a thing. I didn't really have anything. I had some copies of this terrible book. I mean, I'm going to just share, like, the art is horrendous. I mean, this was me after I didn't draw for 15 years, then try to do a comic book, and not knowing how to color. So, like, this page is very bad. Like, I don't even know. You can't even like see it. It's like, before I learned color theory and how not to use blacks and whites in coloring comic books because they don't work very well. And so that book is on my website, but I ask people not to buy it because it's
but go ahead and buy it, please. Right?
Yeah, but buy it if you want to laugh at it, or just. I mean, the story's really good. I have a second issue that I never printed, and then I have a third issue that was written by a new person. It's kind of like a reboot, and I actually have started redrawing this. This is This is a great combination of stuff. It is a vampire mobster mech story. So we have a vampire mob, and he's also like a superhero kind of cop.
Yeah.
And so there's like these murderers, and it's like these vampire werewolves are like murdering people, and he's this cop, and he has like a mech. His like motorcycle turns into a robot suit. And,
Oh wow, that's cool.
I mean, so I just like this is the '90s, and I just took everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had one when I met Vince. It was around the '90s, and I was going to start a comic book then, and I was doing penciling. And he's an inker, and he also worked on DC, but he was a shadow inker, so he did stuff, like behind the scenes, and like it's funny. There's a John Byrne comic book that I'm trying to think which one it was. Maybe Fantastic Four. There, he did the shadow. He did the layout inking, and then then the inker came and did his little flair to make it his own.
Yeah.
But he knew he would never get his name in a comic book. So in that comic book, if you flip it upside down where there's rubble, his name is cursorily written in the rubble.
Nice.
Upside down, and it got through, and he's like, it got through. So I have that copy, and he has that copy.
Nice.
But we had this one storyline, which vampires were big in that time, and we have what's it called? It's called Unforgiving Bloodlust, and so we went, and it was in the future after World War III, and the government finds out that there's vampires that are real, and they try to do all kinds of experiments on them, but they're running from the government, hiding in a church, and there's an apartment up on the tower, and actually they're not demons or anything like that. They're more along the lines of they're born that way, and it's a really cool story. I think I might go back to that one day.
Yeah.
Because they're not really like mutants almost, and each one's a little different. There's different levels of them. There is a bloodlust to them to a certain extent. Some of them are harder than others, and it just happened to be this couple that's together. The woman is more kind of controlling it, and then the man's more got the bloodlust. If it wasn't for the woman being there, he would be probably a savage. But he keeps it together because of her. So it's and they're like a father figure is a priest, and he's fighting his religion or his beliefs, because how can these so-called demons be real and live and be good and not be evil? So he's fighting he's always fighting his religious beliefs by helping them out, because he should be helping them out because they're evil, So that was my thing. And me and Vince, we did a whole inking. We had a half a comic book, and we were I got inspired because I went to North Carolina for a while, and I got to sit down with London Night Studios. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you know London Night Studios. Razor.
Yep.
I got to sit down with him, and we drew some stuff together, and he loved my stuff. We worked on it, but then I had to move back to Florida, and then I said I want to create my own thing. And then by that time, Diamond, when you wanted to ship things out, you had to get a 10,000 order count to get the level. Well, they started charging after the first time you didn't get the 10,000. The second time they send it back out, they started charging $500.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I didn't have $500. I was stopped wrestling. I had a child. I was trying to make ends meet, and I'm like, I can't do this, because there's no way my first, I don't. They didn't have Facebook and all that back then. Mm-hmm. How can you get someone to like my comic book if they never see it? So it would take months and months for a comic book to get up to 10,000 orders. So so they that's how they weeded out a lot of the smaller companies,
they weren't
because
going to make money off of.
Because the back then, now like you got Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Well, back then a lot of up and coming companies were starting out through Diamond because they would put their comic book in and they would wait, months to get the orders. But once they get if they got 10,000 orders, you're there, you're a company, that's a lot of money you're going to get. You can go ahead the next few issues. But they put a stop to that, after a few years, they put a stop to it. So we were right on the edge. So that's how I met Vince. And we just been friends ever since. And then now I just said, let's do it. And here we are,
Yeah, it's kind of, like almost, I don't know what the word is now, but like with me, it came out of necessity. It was something I always wanted to do, and I messed around with it. But it was until, that horrible book. And that was 2015 that came out. And then I went from that to started doing some other stuff. Like I started, at one point we had Hooligan Alley, we had 10 books in the works in some sense of, whether it was writing. Like I have a bunch of scripts, but then I wasn't working and I couldn't really pay artists, and I didn't know how the Kickstarter thing. I mean, back then, 2015, Kickstarter was really just kind of, and it wasn't really comic books at that point. It was mainly an invention. You would have an invention and you'd take it to Kickstarter to try to get funding, to build whatever idea you had. And so even back when I took the first issue of Omni to Kickstarter, it did pretty crappily, actually. Like, I mean, I ended up canceling after 2 weeks. Like, I think I only had maybe 15 backers and not even $200. So I was kind of like leery to go back, like, but that's why I always tell everybody, like, I realized that I needed to become part of the community first.
Yeah.
Like, if no one knows who you are, they're not going to back it. Where now, like this book, when I took it the second time, I mean, 2 weeks in, I ended up almost dying. And I had sepsis so bad, like, I was in the hospital for, and ended up costing me a leg is what it did. And I thought, there's no way this book's going to fund with 2 weeks to go. I'm in the hospital. I can't even like share any new artwork. Like, I don't even have anything on pictures on my phone that I could even, add to a picture and send it out. And luckily, guys like Steph Wilson and Travis and a bunch of guys, they just picked it up for me and just kept pushing it. And I mean, it ain't like we funded way past my goal. I mean, my goal was 25. We made like 28, and
that's still great. That's still great
for me not being able to do anything for 2 weeks. And another thing, like I have to do that all myself. I mean, I have a writer, L.C. Holt, which is like the main creator of this book, and he's a named like people in, like, he's not a comic book name, but he makes horror movies. He's in the movie You're Next. I don't know if you've seen that. He was the goat mask killer in that movie.
I'll have to look that up.
He's been in like VHS 2.
I was heard that.
And so now but while this book was on Kickstarter, he couldn't help me at all because he was making a movie called Time's Up, and it's like a New Year's Eve type horror movie. So he was on the set, so he couldn't even do anything to really help me because he was making this movie. And so I really had to push it all myself. And it was, and if it wasn't for this community, which I say, because I mean, it's what we are. Like I said, I don't know if you see in my post, like you become a family, and that's what family does.
That's true.
Like, I don't understand the competition some people have. Like when I first started out and I didn't know anything about some stuff, and I had some artist friends, not in comic book, but in like real artist friends who I had asked.
What are those?
Yeah. Like, so they get to draw cards for top Star Wars trading cards. So they're real artists, and I'd ask them, like, how do I, like, I need, like, I want to learn how to use, Photoshop. And they'd be like, oh, your art has to get better first. I'm like, dude, that's kind of a-hole-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just asking you for like some tips, and I have people all the time like that. If someone asks me something, and if I know how to do it, I'm going to show you how to do it. If I don't know how to do it, I will find someone who does and point you in their
Yeah.
direction. Because I mean, what good's it do like to try to push somebody else down? Like, because
Oh, I
if
agree.
that's what I could never understand that. Like the whole
Well, and also different art styles are out there. Some people, eh, you know, like you said it very tactfully. It says, my art style is not what you prefer, but you like
yeah
the book.
yeah.
And you gave it a pretty decent score. But it fit the storyline, but it wasn't your preference. But
What I would
luckily it,
like,
yeah, but luckily it kept your interest to where you want
yeah
to get number two. But
yeah.
that being said, I understand that, and I look at I like Jim Lee, John Byrne, all that. Those are
The
you know
classic superhero
yeah, those
style.
are
Yeah,
my go-to artists. But I look at now, I'm learning from the indie comic books. It's cool because if you can get the right style of artwork with the right style of writer and the
mm-hmm.
right style, it could fit in perfectly no matter what it looks like. I've seen some really scratch drawings that I wouldn't look twice at, but then when you put it with the story and how it's
Yeah.
laid out, you're like, that is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I got other people that are doing. I'm trying to talk to other people that are doing artwork, and I'm like, look, put it out there. Don't think that your artwork is not good enough, or if someone says you're not good enough, put it out there because your style is your style, and it doesn't matter if it's you're drawing people with 3 fingers or you're drawing people with 15 fingers. It doesn't matter. Put it out there, and the more you draw, the better you're going to get,
Yep.
and in your own style. So I'm like you're saying. I was drawing here and there, and luckily, I could keep up different. I was never as good as I know I'm gonna be better. I'm getting better, and I've only been drawing full time now. When I say full time for myself, but getting paid to draw year.
Yeah.
Really just for a year. All my other drawings, I would draw. It's kind of really kind of cool. Is that, and I knew you probably did this. I used to draw and give it away.
Yep.
People go, oh, that's
Oh
so cool. You want it here? Cool. You like it. Yeah. I'm excited that you like it. And then, but now people are like, oh, that is so cool. How much you want for that? I'm like, uh, um, I don't know. How much will you pay for it? They'll tell me. I'm like, are you sure?
yeah
Because
yeah.
it's kind of shocking because it's cool that people are starting to like what you do, and it
Yeah.
just makes you feel good.
When
And
oh,
go ahead.
when I'm at cons, I usually put up a little sign, and it'll say, "You come to my table, like in your cosplay," because I'm also a cosplayer. Well, I don't do it much anymore because uh, my I say best friend, but we were more than best friends. I don't know what's above best friend. We were like soulmates, I guess. But we used to cosplay together, and she passed away a couple of years ago, so I haven't done it since then. But I would always have a little sign on my table. If you come to me in your cosplay, I will do a sketch card of you in your costume and for free. So that was always something. I mean, I don't mind giving art away. I do it all the time. Like I don't have as much time now, but
Yeah,
like
I know what you mean.
in the fall there, like we Travis runs that Indie Tober, and I did all that stuff for
Yeah,
everybody, and then a lot of it, I end up later on, I end up going back and coloring it and giving it to the people to use however they want. And that's why I tell everybody, it's like, you can use any of my, if I draw something for you, use it. Just make sure you give me credit for it. And if it ends up printed in something, I would appreciate, a copy or
yeah,
so. So
yeah.
I,
I did that with Amanda. I paid, but I was so happy that she worked with me that I turned
mhm.
around and drew something for her and one of her characters, and then she wind up. They reached $10,000, and she wind up had it colored and gave it away as a gift for them reaching $10,000, and that was kind of a big deal to me. And I was like, wow, that's cool, because again, you don't, you're only as good as you think you are, and I don't, I think I got a long ways to go, but it's cool when people look at what I do and say, I want to do more. Like I said, I want to help you out, because I think you should go Indiegogo, and if you have something that, again, to give away free, and if you make $50, you make $50. You make $100, you make. I make it, like I said, right now I'm 600 and something. We got about 11, 12 days to go. I'm hoping to make $1,000, but that's just $1,000 towards print run.
Yeah.
If I make $3,000, that's great. Maybe maybe I'm not pushing it super hard, but I'm also, this is the first Indiegogo that I've done, so I'm not in that community like you're saying. I'm in the Kickstarter community, but I'm not in the Indiegogo community. So we're going to try to I haven't even, I've got a couple of, I think I bought a couple of things on Indiegogo right now. They got some really cool stuff. I've done a lot on Kickstarter that I've been buying, but now I'm trying to look at Indiegogo and see if there's any cool stuff up there. But yeah, I don't mind doing stuff like that, because if I see something I like, I want to do it, and I like your character. I like the look. It reminds me of a little bit of Jim Lee kind of feel.
It's one of my influence. Like I have a few influences, and usually in my art, you can really tell. Like a lot of people can say, "Oh, I can see so and so in your art." But this was in the Omni Kickstarter. I had a pledge, like a not pledge level, but a I don't know what you call it, a stretch goal that we didn't reach, which I was kind of sad about, because when I got these, I thought, wow, those look really awesome. And I didn't know which one I liked better, but I got these foil covers.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is probably my favorite. But the thing is, because I just wanted to see what it looked like, it's actually the old book inside, because there's the pages I wanted to get rid of. But, and then this one's just a regular, like, metallic cover. But I liked that hollow foil.
I like them both, yeah.
Because I get these from Kablam, and actually I've always gone through Kablam. Like, a lot of people like, whatever, it's Print Ninja or whatever. But I've gotten everything I've ever got printed, I've gotten through Kablam, and I think it's cool because the foil thing it's all the way around, so it's not just the front.
That's nice.
So, like this one's like a metallic, it's the whole cover. So I still might do these, because they're really not a whole lot more than what the regular book was.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I mean, you could tell, like, these ones don't even have the price or anything. I mean, it was just me.
Oh, no, that looks really awesome. Yeah.
Like, I really like them. And they come in these, when they print them out, they put them in these, like, little sleeve things. So
nice.
Yeah, they've been really good with me. But, so
I was going to do an Indiegogo on with Return to Cinder, but a noir, but I was going to have the cover, just the only thing colored be the title red, Return to Cinder, and I was going to have that, but like a chrome or foil or something like what you're talking. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is a little known fact. This picture of the guy in the background is actually me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I could not get a reference right of this. It's actually supposed to be Floyd, who becomes Omni, and this like rock things what turns him into Omni, which you can't really see in this but I couldn't get that like posed right. Like it's like, so I have this little like one of those wax warmer things. It's a little square one, and so I put it on my desk, and I turned off the lights and I lit it, and then I set my phone up and I took a bunch of pictures of me like over it and different, and then that's what I used.
Nice.
To all that. So it's me with my hoodie up, and so it was like
I got a story like that. I went to a con, a Tampa Bay con, and one of the booths, they invited I'm trying to think of the artist's name. The one who drew the miniseries with Wolverine, the first one, first miniseries,
Barry Windsor Smith.
Barry Windsor Smith. And so, of course, that's my all-time. I finally got all the comic books. Got those collected back. That's
When
one
I
of the ones.
was younger, I hated his art. Like, I was like, oh, it's so weird. But now, as an adult, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this stuff is so good.
But I got to tell you something that he told me, and I wish I had the money because he was, signing and drawing little drawings on each cover and all that.
Yeah.
I wish I had the money because I would have bought them. I didn't have the money at the time, and but those covers were really cool. And to come to find out, you wouldn't believe this, but he told me here's the thing: if you look at the covers, he used Jack Nicholson's face.
Really?
And then inside, he used Clint Eastwood's face.
I can see Clint Eastwood in it a lot. Yeah.
At the inside.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, you go,
yeah,
holy crap, that
it.
is Jack Nicholson. Holy crap, that is man, it was pretty amazing him telling me that. I don't know who he told that day, but that was something I walked away with a story that I'll never forget now. That I look at those covers and I'm like going, Jesus, that is Jack Nicholson.
I have to look up something. But I also, Floyd in Omni is actually, because I needed a character, so he is actually based on a real person as well. Ed Sheeran is is who Floyd is based off of, like the actual kid who becomes Omni. You know who Ed Sheeran is? Like this picture here. Where is it at? I gotta move my finger. Oh, wrong way. Like, I hate doing this because it's like backwards.
Yeah, I know you can't get it right.
But this picture right there. So,
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, he's a musician, but he has like curly red hair and glasses like that. So that's like all the photo references. Anytime you see him, it's an Ed Sheeran picture that I use for a photo reference.
Yeah. I'm learning to do that. I'm learning to look at other pictures. It's hard to do everything out of your head. For instance, I got a panel where the next Cannibal Campers are jumping off of. I took this when I went camping. They're going to jump off a pier, so I'm going to extend that pier, but see the background. I did it black and white. I took that picture, and I'm like going, that would be cool to have them jump off a pier. Just make that a little longer. No bars. But I'm using some references from one camping. That was kind of cool. And then Vince. That's what Vince told me. He says, not everybody draws a city from scratch.
Yeah.
If you go back into a city, Spider-Man swinging through the city, that's a background of a picture that they looked at and they traced. New York City. If they're swinging city street, they're most likely tracing that city street, because most people in New York or come from New York knows that street. And they go, hey, I know that, and it's something that you can add to the feel of the book. Like I said, I want Florida, so I'm trying to draw palms, and stuff like that. But let's see. Oh, here's one. I'm working on now. But if you can look, I hate doing this. You're right.
Yeah, because it's backwards.
All right,
and then it confuses
all right.
you.
But see that I'm drawing like palms instead of bushes, like palmetto bushes.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I'm trying to draw. That's where he's going. Y'all just entered the dragon. And they're like going, huh? What's the dragon? Where's the dragon? Kind of thing. But I'm trying to draw a little different than normal. So that scenery right there is going to give me it's going to be cool. Hopefully that panel is going to be cool because you're going to see that panel, that the deck that's there is going to come out a little further, and then they're going to be all holding hands jumping into the water to clean themselves off because they just ate a one all bloody. So and they wash themselves off in the lake. And so I kind of want the feel of Florida too. A little bit of feel of Florida, and it's not there all the time. I'm drawing bushes, I'm drawing all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a brand new page. I mean, I haven't even done the last. I haven't done that yet. I'm working on that one. Sneak peek right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, we're about 4 pages away. I'm about 4 pages away completing it. I'm so excited. I'm hoping this weekend I can do a lot. I might knock it all out. If I do, I'll be ahead of my schedule, but I got a feeling I'm going to have, throughout the week, I'm going to be throwing, 2 pages or so done, because we're trying to figure out if we're going to add more pages, because our story is going to end really where the movie begins almost. I mean, we're not where the movie begins, but where the main story begins. We begin this comic book where the movie first begins. A woman running through the woods, and excuse me. So, and that's what's cool about it, is that we're going to end it to where the main story begins in the movie. So you got to keep, like I said, we want to keep you drawn in and interested and like what's going on, and it's cool that some of the actresses know the storyline. They're excited because one of the women, there's another woman involved. There's not just 3 women. There's another woman involved, and another actress, and she's in the story, and she's a surprise in the movie. But we're going to turn it around to make it even a bigger surprise in the comic book, to where it's not going to be like the movie. You're going to be going, what? Okay, but that's in issue 2. So, but we're going to, it's difficult because there is a movie involved, and we're not doing it along the movie, but we still got to keep the movie involved, and the first 3 issues is going to be a little bit about the movie, but the 3rd issue is going to walk away from the movie a lot. And then we're going to just run with it if it keeps going. So I keep going back to that, but it's kind of cool that we're having our little, they're giving us full creative rights, but we still want to hold strong to the movie, to keep it, like I said, the cheesiness of the movie, and then, making it fun for everybody. So that's our goal. And I didn't tell you, this is cool. So I go camping. When you go camping, you can games, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of our tiers or levels is we have a specially made, and we only have 4 left, specially made dominoes, Naked Cannibal Campers dominoes.
Ooh.
And so you can order the comic book and have a camping game to go with it. Nice. So it's just a fun thing. I did put in a coffee cup that I designed in the comic book. Yeah. Need issue 1 before spoilers for 2. I haven't gave you spoilers for 2 yet.
I have a tendency to do that. Like,
yeah,
Omni, I don't like, since all the artwork's done, I always want to share stuff, and I'm like, wait, no one's even read the first one yet. I can't show them anything from the second.
Yeah, it's hard. But I have we have a coffee cup or a mug or whatever, a coffee mug or whatever that she drinks from, and in the first book, and it says, "What's better than camping naked? Nothing." And so I'm actually going to have those made, nice. And I'm going to sell them when I go camping. No, but my wife wants one. She goes, "I love that. I want one." So we're going to have those made. I don't know if we're going to have them made before the end of the Indiegogo, but
we just have them
you
ready
might
for
have
issue
them
2
when we go to cons and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Issue 2 might have them too. Yeah.
That's always,
so
especially now that I think they finally rolled out the add-ons on Kickstarter. I know.
Yes, they did.
Kickstarter sent me a little, I guess, questionnaire thing about my campaign and things. It was like, oh, you know what ticked me off? You say having the little add-on thing, but then when I clicked on it, not allowing me to add add-ons. So it was kind of, and while other campaigns are going on at the exact same time, was able to have add-ons. Like, either you have them or you don't. Like you can't, put some people behind, because then I think I only sold one add-on through the whole thing because it was just complicated to do it if
Yeah.
you don't have, or unless you want to use like backer kit or something. But
Well, I just tell them people to contact me, now, because if they want to do something special, contact me. I'll put it in my notes, and we're like, I got a lot of people that, oh, I want this, but I really want this cover, and I want the movie, but I really want this, and
Phil's gonna sell some spoilers.
no, you're not. Yeah, he did a really cool cover. He's doing one now too. Phil's a colorist.
Yeah, I know Phil. Me and Phil
Yeah.
have known each other for a while.
Oh yeah, Phil's an awesome guy. I mean, but he did. I got a crystal ball cover, where if you want your face on the cover, I will draw your face. It'll be in the crystal ball on the cover, and they're all looking around the crystal ball, looking at it. So it'll be printed up one of one. So it'll be your own cover with your face.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's one of the
yeah.
that's one of the tiers. He colored it. It looks amazing. So what I do is I draw your face bigger. Then we shrink it down and put it in
then
there.
You can just you don't have to reach for a cover every time.
Yeah, and so it'll look a little better too. It won't be. I'm not a portrait artist, but I can do pretty good likeness when I want to.
Yeah, that's how I am. Like right now, I have a commission for a cover, and it's to have like a person, like a real person on it. So I'm always worried that it's not going to look like the person. Short of taking the picture and putting it there and like tracing it, pretty much.
Right, it's scary.
I try to figure out, because what I figured the way to do it is you have to find a feature that is kind of like unique to that person and like accentuate that, because that's what people are going to look for. Like if they know this person has like, say like something on their, like a mark or something, like you got to make sure you get and you make it prominent, so they're going to look for that. Like, well, he has this mole like on his right cheek. Oh, there it is. So yeah, it looks like it, and even though it really probably doesn't look like that person. But
exactly. Yeah. I drew. I knew this artist that was a portrait artist, airbrush. He airbrushed things on it, and he was having a problem with a T-shirt he was airbrushing a couple, and the problem is that the woman wasn't very pretty, and then the drawing wasn't very pretty, and most people don't see themselves like that. So if you draw something, and that's another thing, if they're not you got to enhance it and also make it look a little better, so people will be happy with it. Oh, that's me. Because when they look in the mirror, they don't see what they really look like. They see a flipped image of them. So it's not the same. So you have to kind of make it look a little better. That's why I look like this. I'm not a portrait artist, but it'll be a comic bookish style. But it'll turn out pretty good. Luckily I'm blowing them up and drawing them pretty good, and then I shrink them down, and they look a lot better when I shrink them down. So far I did 3 for Return to Sender, and I think I have 1 for this one for when I did the Kickstarter, and I'm surprised I haven't done more, but maybe because they don't. Well, there's a lot to offer. I mean, I just have so much. I have like 20 something levels on Kickstarter that people could go on, and then now we lowered it down on Indiegogo because it was just so much. So you don't even show yourself in real life. You just hold that picture right there. That's all he shows. I already know what you look like though. So
yeah, like on Omni, I had a tier like to have yourself drawn into the book, and I originally had a spot where I was going to draw people in the crowd. I had like 6 spots, but only one person ended up backing at that tier. So I was like, well, that's going to be stupid to draw like one person in this group. So I talked to him and I was like, well, I have a character, in Omni already who is like the security guard, which he actually shows up like here, up in this and I was
Okay.
going to redraw him as that guy. Well, then when I added those pages, I came up with a better idea, and it actually lets him be that character because the person who backed it ended up wanting a friend of theirs that passed away to be in the
Oh,
book. So I actually added where they actually have dialogue and they talk to Omni, and so it's actually they show up in those couple pages I added. So it gives them a little bit something more for their friend since they were the only person who backed at that level. So
all right. Yeah, yeah. And I had a discussion with one of the guys who bought the tier for Return Center, and he had a girlfriend, and he was a big comic fan, of course, but his girlfriend really wasn't. The girlfriend wasn't. I said, so is she a comic book fan? And he goes, not really. I said, it'll be really romantic for you to have this done for her.
yeah,
I'll draw it to my best ability. You'll give it to her. She'll be like, oh, and then it'll be really sweet for a day, and she'll put it away and never really do it.
yeah,
On the other hand, if you do it, you're a comic fan. You're going to put it on the wall.
yeah,
You're going to have that hanging there for years because you're a comic fan. I said, it's one day romantic or, something that you're going to really like the rest of your life. And they wind up, he wind up getting himself, because one, I didn't want to draw a woman because I didn't know what she looked like. No, I didn't care. I just wanted him to be happy. And that's what I chosen, saying, hey,
yeah.
and the same thing I did sketch card drawings, just drawings. I did them actually on the back of the backing of a comic book bag and boards.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the things I was giving away.
Yeah.
I drew. I said, actually, it was supposed to be my choice, but then Travis turned it around and put it out there by mistake, saying, "What do you want him to draw?"
Yeah.
And but that was fine. I mean, because
Yeah.
it was fun because I had all kinds of like my character as a zombie, Killer Wog from Green Lantern, all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
drawings. And one guy says, "Can you draw my wife?" And I said, "I can, but
Don't let
again,
her see it.
is she gonna like it? I mean, is
Yeah.
that that's sweet and all, but is it gonna be mean to you
Is it
as
gonna?
much
Yeah. Mean
as
to her.
you
Yeah.
having something you want done?"
Yeah.
I mean, she'll think, "Oh, that's cool, thank you." And she'll be like, but she's not a comic fan, so it's not going to be like you
Mean
did a
as much.
painting of
Yeah.
her. If you did a painting of her, then she might have it on the wall forever. But comic book, she's like going to go, you and
Nice.
your dumb collection.
Yeah. Yeah. That was another one of the great stretch goals where I not really hurt myself, but didn't think about it before I did it. And it was like the last stretch goal that we reached. I was like, if we reach this goal, all physical backers will get a one of a kind sketch card and of an Omni character. Like they don't get. I just sit here and I got to draw 100 and some sketch cards. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, how many different poses can I put Omni in? All right, this is just going to be a headshot. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like this is crazy. I should have never done this. It should have been
Well,
like a tier or something where someone could pay me to do this.
well, that's what I saw that Luke Stone did that on one of his tiers,
Yeah,
and a sketch cards, and he had 30 of them or something. He didn't really realize. And then
I
Amanda
had to do
Rachels did that.
94 of them.
Oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
Amanda Rachels did that too. She did, and what was cool about hers is that that, if you did it right then, she would do a video that evening at 7 o'clock. After 7 o'clock, she would pick one to draw live,
Nice.
the sketch card, so people could watch their card being drawn live. So that was kind of cool. But I was thinking of that later on. I was like, man, that would have been cool. I should have done stretch cards.
Which comic did she get drawn into, Mike? That'd be
That's
interesting
cool.
to know.
Yeah, I know. That's cool.
Yeah.
Mike's also got one of the original pages from Naked Cannibal Campers.
Yeah, that's what he's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Mike
have
and Trish.
I have a print in my comic book where all the original artwork's in here. I got a print in there because I already mailed it off to him.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I Stormy.
Stormy.
Yeah, I don't know that book. Of course, Mike and Trish back like every book on Kickstarter.
I saw that. Yeah, they're amazing.
So like, yeah, I have a bunch of stuff. When I ship out to them, when I ship them their Omni stuff, they actually backed one of my first backers, and they got the Christmas tier because I launched a week early, and for that first week, I decided to make a special Christmas like cover and everything. So it's like an homage to a Superman comic book from the 40s where he's carrying Santa Claus. So
wow.
I made it like Omni, it's the same cover kind of where Omni's carrying Santa and they're dropping presents in this thing. And so I did that. And then you also got a pack of greeting cards, like Christmas
nice.
cards. And they were one of the few people who got that. So they'll get that special cover. And then, I've got tons of stuff. Like another thing, one of the special tiers, you could get metal trading cards, and I did like 3 of them. And when I ordered them, because they only are like $1 a piece from where I ordered.
Man, I'm gonna have to talk to you about that because I have metal trading cards.
Yeah, hold on, let me grab them. I'll show you.
I have to definitely get with you. Yeah.
Can't move as fast, but
oh, that's okay. I'll start singing for everybody. And then I won't do it. I promise everybody. Don't leave. Oh, man. So I'm excited to see the metal cards. I'm going to get some cool stuff like this. I thought I was coming up with some cool stuff, but making dominoes. I think I got a set of Return to Cinder dominoes somewhere here.
Yeah, it's not as easy getting around as it used to be.
Oh yeah, I got a set of the dominoes too, but it's not. I went to I was going to show the dominoes, but the dominoes, I had my own set, and this lady would not say no. I mean, I couldn't say no to her. She was like, I threw it out there some really high number about them, and she goes, okay, I'll think about it. And I knew, I'm like, that's too high. No one's going to buy them for that. And the lady come back about 30 minutes later going, I'll take them. And I'm like, no, that's my only set right now until they get made. But they're actually, I just for everybody who's involved, who did get any of them, the 10 are being made. She's down to the last 2 painting. All the dominoes are done. The dots are hand painted, and they're really I'm trying to see where I got a set somewhere here. I was going to show you that while you show me that. Go ahead. And
all right. Well, see, here's that
is so cool.
The Omni one, like, and it's aluminum. Like, it's only printed one side. Yeah. I designed like all the cards. So that's the Omni one. And then what I'm trying to do is actually have a card from all of my different books.
That's cool.
So this, and I know Mike was glad that I used this because I usually don't reuse like all my all the trading cards and stuff I've made and the bookmarks. It's all like original art. It's not like me just taking a panel from the book or whatever. It's all like, so the only place you get this actual drawing of Omni is on that card.
That's cool.
And so this is the character. Let me see if I can get the light right. Her name's Urge. She's from my Project 34 book. I actually did this. This is the only piece of art that I've reused on this whole campaign. I did it as just because I do like art and just share it.
Yeah.
And I just liked that one. So I decided, I'm going to make that and be the card.
That's really cool.
I used to not be able to draw women here. So you can see it a little bit better.
Yes, it's hard to draw women.
Yeah, I couldn't. My women used to look like men with breasts. That's about what my.
Yeah, my women are a little muscular.
So and I had a friend, my friend Courtney, who is actually like the co-creator of this character. Well, most of my characters in Project 34, her and her husband had helped me create them. And then this last, I'm trying to take them out of the plastic so it's a little bit easier to see. And then this one is from Fall from Grace, and he's like our main character on there. Oh, so,
So where do you go to get the aluminum or metal?
I have to look. I can't remember the name of them, but they
Just
do all
message
kinds
me
of.
later. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they do all. I mean, you can get metal covers, metal prints, whatever. They have. I mean,
Wow.
all the stuff they do. It cost me like $30 for 30 of these, but then it was like $30 shipping. So,
Oh, wow.
um,
Wow.
yeah. But
So $2
so
a
I
piece. Wow.
yeah. So I ordered a bunch of them. I think I only actually the tiers these come with if you got the director's cut book, and then this is like one of the things you can only get in that tier.
Yeah.
So the metal cards. But I ordered a bunch of extras. Um, so I know I'm sending a set to Mike and Trish because they're like the awesome people.
Yeah, they
And
are.
and I'll keep a set for myself. And so I still probably have about 4 or 5 other sets that I might use. My whole goal was in the trading cards in the first one. I did 3 of those, and I got a stack of those. Like everybody who got that was one of the stretch goals. And my goal was to actually put a set out of the cards. So like the next Kickstarter I do will have 3 other characters,
Okay, yeah.
and then then I'll have more metal cards for that campaign. So I tried to make like the metal cards be same in the same set, but they're like special ones. And then at the end, if you like when I do the I always want to say graphic novel, but that's not what it is. The trade paperback at the end, one of the add-ons I'll probably have is like you can just order the whole set at a certain
Oh,
price.
nice, yeah.
So in
Well,
case you missed any or
well, that's what I was trying to do with these cards here. Um, I was thinking it turned out, like I said, these cards turned
yeah,
out pretty good, the tarot cards. And people loved them at the con.
yeah.
And
Cards.
and
People
every
love cards.
yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But I mean, like they turned out really, really cool
Yeah,
looking. I
I like
colored
them.
them myself. I drew them myself, which I drew them simple to make them
Hmm.
look like
Tarot cards. Yeah.
older tarot cards. And yeah, and they're flat. All it is flat color them.
Hmm.
So, but they turned out really good. And I'm cutting them myself on this cutting board over here. I
Oh,
got
yeah.
a whole stack of them. Um, you know, but like you're saying, it's fun. Doing them. It's cheaper when I get them and I cut them,
Yeah.
but they're not always perfect. I'm trying to get them down where they're perfect, but I'm thinking about doing a whole set maybe for the next Cannibal Campers and have it one of the tiers. But there's 72, I guess, tarot cards, and so I'm like,
Wow.
well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I have to start a while
Well, that's
because
why
they
I
do take
broke mine
time.
up. So.
I'm drawing them pretty good size and then shrinking them down to fit
Mhm.
into this drawing.
Yeah.
So and then I got to use the characters. But now I was thinking my sister made this for me. Like I said, she's the one that's making the dominoes.
Oh yeah.
This is from Return to Sender. Whoops, let me turn. These are Return to Sender ones,
Nice.
and they're I mean
Like
they're
the acrylic kind, like
yeah,
the.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
acrylic. They're hard. And then the other ones are blood red with white. The Naked Cannibal Campers, and it comes in a cool looking case. Actually, we changed the case because this case slides in out, but it gets stuck every now and then.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Whoop, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's like a little drawer,
Yeah.
slides in and out, but it gets stuck and then or it'll just slide out. So we got one that fits on top. It's clear glass like this, and it says and they're blood red. And my set I had are gone because
Somebody's
the lady,
playing.
yeah, somebody's playing with them, and so I have 4 left. We have a few, like I said, we have the movies. We only have a few left of movies. I think we had 30 or 20 left, or 20 or something like that left of the
Mhm.
movies. Uh, if you want a movie with a comic book, and then they also have we have the
2, 6, 8, 10, 8, 14.
yeah
22 cards.
Oh, 22 cards. Hey, I might be making them then.
Yeah.
But what I want to do for Return to Sender, I was thinking about, instead of these, making a deck of playing cards.
Those sold pretty well.
Yeah.
Mike would know. I know Steph Wilson did trading cards. I don't remember. I mean, playing cards. I'm sure.
Because back in the Western time, you always gamble with cards.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about
or chips. I seen someone did like poker chips too one time.
But they didn't do poker chips back then. They real coins.
Yeah.
Real money.
Yeah.
Unless you were probably out of Vegas. Yeah, I see the poker chips, but I think it'd be cool to have a whole deck of cards. I mean, you'd only have to draw the king, queen, and the Joker,
or just the card bait, the backs. That's like what some people do. And then you do the playing cards, regular faces.
Yeah. Again, it'd be. So I'm thinking about doing that as a tier. That'd be kind of cool. I think having a playing cards. We're. There's a lot of fun things to do.
Yeah.
So I thought I was doing something fun, but I like those metal cards really well. I mean, those are really cool looking.
Yeah.
I was
because originally what my plan was, they weren't even going to be metal. I wanted to find someone who made like those covers I showed you, and that's why I wanted to be like foil cards, but I couldn't. Like I asked, like I put on like all the places that I go, and like, does anyone who has done trading cards in their Kickstarter, have you done foil cards, and where did you get them? And somebody had mentioned these metal cards, and they were only like $1 a piece. So I like went and checked their website, and I was like, ooh, that's pretty cool. It's only $1 a piece. And I was like confused as crap, like when you order them, because it wasn't like a thing to separate. You just told them how many cards you wanted, and then in the like notes you just say, "Oh, I wanted 10 of Omni, 10 of Urge, and 10 of of Alex."
Okay.
And so then I was like, "Well, is there a place where I upload the art?" And they're like, "Oh, you can just put it in like a Dropbox and send me the link." And I was like, "Okay." And I did that, and a couple of days later, they sent me like a thing to approve them, and I approved them. And
wow, that's cool.
About 2 weeks later or so, like when I got home from the hospital after I'd fallen, I come home from the hospital. I actually posted a picture. I had all these boxes of stuff in my room. My sister brought in, and it was like all the reward stuff came in like while I was in the hospital the second time. And I was like, oh my God, now I got to go through all this crap. And that's when I realized I had way too many 11 by 17 prints. Because at first I thought, well, I'll just send them out to everybody. And I was like, wait, no, I'm not going to do that because the shipping will kill me. Because I don't want to fold it. I don't want to, I can't.
Yeah, you don't want to fold it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'd have to send it out flat. An 11 by 17 envelope thing is going to cost me a lot more than, sending out all those Gemini things. So. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I got a tier where I sold original artwork, and like I have a splash page that has 2 splash pages, and there you go, poker cards.
Yeah, they did I knew somebody did.
But I have a splash page where it's 2 people are eating. They're all 3 witches are eating this person, and it's really cool. It's a big splash page. Well, I have it here. I'll show you. I'll show you right here. I'll show you the original, like we've been showing things.
Yeah.
But this original is already sold. Yeah, the original is sold already, and I got to. But I love this drawing so much that I sent it off to the colorist Andrew Pate is the colorist interior. He colored it for the comic book, and then then Chris Hall recolored it as a painting, and it's a wraparound cover.
Nice.
So
Oh wow. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that like in the video kind of thing. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's already sold, which is kind of cool. And so, but I'm going to give them the wraparound cover, the comic book, the original cover. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to give them that original work, then a print of the interior colored 2 11 by 7 prints, and then the print of the wraparound
Nice.
cover 2x11s. So they'll have 3 11x17s to put on the wall together. So that's kind of cool. And it's 2 different. They look pretty cool because they're different colorists. So I drew a lot of the covers that we have, and what was cool is I used different colorists for. We had a naughty and nice version of the covers, and most of the covers I used different colorists. They did one naughty and nice of Sookie, and then one did, I think it was Jason Feinstone did Sookie. Then I had Chris Hall did Luna, and then Minerva. I can't think of his name. I'll think of his name later. But I had him do the one, and then Luke Stone. Chris Hall did Luke Stone's. Amanda did her own cover. She did Naughty and Nice cover. She did her own. And again, I did it because, and then Phil did the Crystal Ball, and now is doing the was it Retro Rat is getting 100 copies. They want their own cover.
Yeah.
So they're getting it. He's doing that one now too. But what it does is it's cool. Vince drew that actually, but I drew most of the other covers. But the reason why I have different colorists is because it makes it look like a total different, almost like a different artist when you have different colors color it. So they kind of play off different looks to it. But did we draw too many covers? Probably. But people like them to where they're buying the big packages.
I think I only I had the regular Omni cover, that the Greg Kimmett, and then I have the regular one, and then the Virgin, and my friend Brian, he drew one. It's like an artist edition. It's just black and white, and then I have the wraparound cover for the director's cut, and then I have a sketch, like blank sketch cover. So it's like 5 covers, but we hardly sold any besides the and then the Christmas one, which was, and then I had another one. It's like a limited edition. It was only 25 covers, and it was actually the cover that Travis has, because he really liked that cover. So he told me, why don't you bring that cover back? And so I was like, you know what, I will. But it's going to be a very limited. It's 25.
Yeah.
I got 25 of those printed. I have them all hand signed and numbered. And when those are gone, they're gone, and they're never going to be made again. So, so if you got it through the Kickstarter, I think you got it like at a normal price. But if I'm selling it at a con, it's going to be a little bit more because there's only 25 of them. Yeah. But I see Mike asked if Project 34 characters will cross into Omni. Not necessarily. I don't want to ruin anything. Whenever, cause I've been writing Project 34 for 20 years. Like I have 27 issues of it written. So at least 27. It might be more than that now. And Omni just is something within the last few years. And when LC wrote Omni, he wrote it as a standalone thing. But as I've gone through and read, his whole idea for the story, I can see where it can cross over into Project 34, because they're both, a little bit of a spoiler, it's kind of has government stuff to do, which in Project 34 you find out right away. I mean, it's no secret that's why it's called Project 34. That's actually only the title for the first story arc. Actually, after the first story arc, the name of the book changes. Little insider thing there, but so in the future we might see some little bit of crossover. Maybe not so much as the Project 34 team being an Omni or Omni into Project 34, but I'm sure we're going to see some crossover of some government people that's in each book.
That's cool.
But I haven't officially gone there yet. But this is, by the way, like the second issue of Project 34. I'm out of the first issue, and I also have another cover for this one that my friend Courtney drew. Her husband or ex-husband, I don't know what you call it, like they were like co-creators on this book. They like I said, I've been writing this book for about 20 years, and then when I was getting ready to actually do the comic, I sent the script over to them, and it was Christmas Eve. She called me. It's like, you need to come over to the house right now. I'm like, it's Christmas Eve for what? She goes, we have to talk about this before you. I'm like, all right. So I come over. I mean, we only lived I could see their house from my window, so it wasn't like, I was going 20 miles down the road or anything. But so we like redid all the characters, like my characters, because I'd written it like in the 90s, so they were very 90s names of characters. So like this character, like I needed filler pages, so this is like my thing. So that's Atrophy, who's like the leader. He's like the Cyclops of the team. His name was originally like Zenith or something like that, and we changed it. We changed his powers and everything. Let me see. I have another character somewhere in here. This was. I don't even. I don't remember what her name was, but Courtney changed it to Wild Flight. And her power is that she can make wings out of anything. Like this is, like I said, these are just filler pages. So like in the book, or in the cover here, you can see she has wings of like crystal. And other times in the book, she has like just junk, like trashes of her wings and stuff like that. But this is in the back of this book. I have that's Courtney.
Oh, cool.
In 2019, she committed suicide.
Oh,
and
man.
Then almost a year to the day, her husband, they were ex-husband then, like they were divorced, he committed suicide. So this book became something totally different for me. Like I have a price on it, but I tell everybody, like if you go to my website, you can get the first one for free. This one's on there, but I tell everybody, like if you want to read it, I'll just give it to you because, it's something they helped me make. Like these characters are, something that this book wouldn't be possible without them, put it that way. So that's why I don't let anyone else touch this book. Like I write it, I draw it, I ink it, I color it, I do the letters on it, because it's just it means too much now. I mean, it's not so, like I said, I've never kickstarted this. Like I print it and then I sell it. Or Courtney had drawn a cover for this one, and it was the last thing she drew. And I did like, I think 25 covers of that. I gave out most of them. I just gave them away to her family and friends and stuff. But the ones I've left, and then from now on, like I'm hoping to get the trade paperback, or I guess this one could be actually a graphic novel because you can't really buy this anywhere. And then I'm going to do on Kickstarter, but all the money that doesn't, like any money that's over of what printing and shipping costs is being donated to suicide prevention. So that's kind of my Project 34. It's that's where Urge comes from. That metal card I have, and I tell everybody, like if people read this, they're like, well, that looks like the X-Men, or like these characters remind me of the X-Men, and I'm like, well, it kind of is. To tell you the truth, this book started as me writing an X-Men fan fiction. That's what it is. That I then decided to change to my own comic book. So, you have this character his name's just 9 because he's like the 9th in the project, and if you can see, he's got like kind of Wolverine-ish. He's like Wolverine meets the T-1000. So he's like liquid metal arms and stuff. And I have like the Cyclops character, and like the one guy he fights. Like here's another picture of him. Me and my famous Snow. If you get the newest issue of Broke Down on 4 Dead Bodies, you'll see my Snow makes a return in that book. In the pages I colored. But the guy that he fights in this, his name's Shepherd, but it's like his code name is Beastmaster. So he's kind of like my Sabretooth guy, but he can change. Let me see. Like he can change into different animals. So like here he's like a anamorphic tiger, And another part he turns into like a wolf or something. I don't even remember. Yeah, see, like here he turns like into a wolf. So this is like pure superhero, like whatever you want. Whereas Omni kind of, when you read it, everyone's like, oh, it's Superman. And like I said, like the first story arc is very Supermanish, I guess, but it doesn't, like there's little hints in there of what's going to happen. Like it's more based in reality, I guess. Like when LC wrote it, it takes place in Atlanta. Actually, in the second issue, whenever I started drawing it, we had a certain president, and LC wanted like actual real people in the book. So we have a certain former president in the book in the second issue that I don't know if I'm gonna keep in there, because just because of it's being, I don't want people like not buy it because if he's in there. And plus, if I want it to be part of my other stuff, I have a fake president that I might just replace it. That way it's in our same universe as my other books. It's just the sexy chick needs to cross over. Well, I will let you know. In issue 3 of Omni, he'll have his own sexy chick. So there you go. What else he said? Politics and religion kill things. Yeah, that's why we're kind of getting rid of. I think I'm gonna change those couple pages. I can't hear you. I think.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can. There you go.
I actually pressed the button when I was scratching my ear, and I heard beep, and but no, I agree. Politics always messes up things, in religion, because we all have our own beliefs, and what we do all believe, can agree on is comic books together. So it's and it comes to our core. I feel that everybody, even take politics, take religion, take it a while of the situation. I believe we all have the same basic grasp of reality. And if you add politics or religion or something like that to it, you want to go as far as you can to one side. Yeah. And if you keep it by talking about like we might have different beliefs on politics, we might have different beliefs on religion, but we're talking about this and we're together. And guess what? Our ideas are similar. So I bet you, if we really concentrate on and talked about certain things in religion, certain things in politics, if we, to our core, I bet you we have the same beliefs starting out. But again, the way things are so hard now that someone's always running to this way and someone's always running this way, and they got to stand up for that, and they got to stand up for this instead of meeting in the middle. And so to me, this is where we all meet in the middle and talk about things we love to do, and things that it's cool how comic books changed your life. I didn't have a dad when I grew up. I had my mom, and I didn't have a dad, so I didn't have my grandparents. My grandparents were really helpful in my life. But coming from not having a dad, not my mom being a single mother working all the time with 2 boys, we kind of grew up, and comic books kind of taught me a little wrong from right. I always wanted to be the good guy. Out of any situation, I wanted to be the hero, and and that's what I try to be. I'm not always perfect. I don't always hit the right things. Some people think, I'm sure that the perspective of things people look at, and I might be a villain in some of their perspectives. Mm-hmm. But if they sat down and talked with me and got with me, they'd realize that all I want to do is the right thing. And and so I'm lucky enough to where I try to push that out to everybody, and people I work with always says, that, you're too nice of a guy. Uh, you know, Even when I bounced and when I did it, they always looked at me going, how can you be like this? You're so nice. You can't be, this grabs people and throws them out. But I did it with a smile, because, everybody everybody has a bad day, and I try to understand where everybody's coming from and how they are. I have certain reasons why I'm behind on my comic book, and there's nowhere near the reasons you have, and I'm like, you know, I see what you're going through, and it's amazing that you're pushing yourself through all this, and still have this love that you have, that I have, that I have for the comic books. And we're sitting there talking about all these comic books what we grew up with, and now that we're grown men, we want to find those comic books that made us happy when we were children,
Yeah.
and to have this uh, uh, gathering, or this like you're saying, this family, that we all love comic books, and this is what's pushing us, that it's pretty amazing. And sometimes it builds up people. I feel that they're not bad people out there. Some people want to be right and wrong and challenge people, but I feel it's because they're out there to do their best, or they're out there trying to do their best, and they see that. I know I've seen some really cool artwork not do so successful in Kickstarter, and I'm like, why? That is really cool. That should blow mine away. And I've seen some really cool, really okay stuff that I think so, but that do really well. And so I'm like, oh, so I try to understand where people go through on all life specs, and I try to always be happy and try not to think the worst of people, even though they might not like what I do. Or I used to be a boss over 110 drivers, and it was hard for me to realize that some people don't like you, for no matter how good you are to them, they just don't. They're just they have a perception of you that they don't like, and it's hard to understand that. And hopefully, like I said, we as a family, we if we have our arguments, hopefully we come together as a family and and work our arguments out, and work work everything together, because like I said, you were talking about Indiegogo and you're going to wait. The reason why I want to help you out is because I don't want you to wait, because I think your book is pretty cool, and it's got a lot to give to people. And if you can get a little more money to make a bigger print run, why not? And reach more people, and if I can help you out, I'll be glad to help you out, because I see only about 2.5 weeks I'm done drawing. I got to do the drawings for the people that did the tiers, but I'll have a little free time before I return to Cinder #2. So I want to give a little to everybody, and that, because I was given stuff, I was given help. So I've contacted the people that helped me, and hopefully they'll, I'm contacting them, and I'm giving people. I don't know what to charge for what I do. So when I charge people, they go, "What? Really? That much? Oh, that's cheap." Oh, and I'm like, well, because
that's whenever I started this process of getting these backup stories done, I learned really quickly that I don't charge enough for what I do. like, luckily I had some people who, helped me out. Like, I mean, I offered to pay them, like, I had money from the Kickstarter, so it isn't like, I was like, oh, please do it for comps. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see some people. I was like, how much do I owe you? They're like, oh, just, if I need something later, just, we'll work out something. Or, there's some people who like, give me a deal, like, but I know, as I wasn't gonna like not pay an artist, that's because I've done that. When I first started out, I did a book for $50, like a whole book for $50, like not a page, the whole book for $50, because I had no idea, like, and this was somebody else starting out, and I was like, hey, I want to draw a comic that would get printed. You just buy my paper and stuff, and I'll do it. And then I found really quickly, um, people don't even like. You can't even get someone to draw you a page for $50, and I did 20 some pages. So and then coloring, like when I mean, I know what I got paid working at DC. Um, and I know I wasn't going to charge people that,
Right.
So, um, when I started with Travis, I gave him a really good deal on the first book, and he's like, all right, well, in the second book, I'll pay you your whatever your rate is. Well, it never happened. Well, I end up, I mean, I don't know how much of my story, I've been 4 years battling brain cancer. That's
Oh,
why I've had 2 surgeries, and I got really bad for a while, and we were on the second issue of Broke Down, and I just was like dragging, and like I just, he was waiting for me to finish pages because Travis is one of those people, he's not going to send to Kickstarter until it's like
until it's done.
95% done,
Right.
and I was just, it was just killing me, and I told him, I was like, dude, I hate to do this to you, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish the book. Like, I don't want to be holding you up, for months while you're waiting for me to color this book. So we worked out a thing where, because the way I color books, I try to color. I don't go like page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. I try to like, okay, all the pages that are in this setting, like this scene, I'm going to color all these pages at one time. That way, there's in my head, I can keep it consistent,
Right.
because nothing is worse than like doing a night scene and then going and doing a day scene, then coming back to a night scene, and then you're like, you know, you're all
Right.
confused. So I try to do so. That's what happened. If you look in the second issue, I end up coloring all the pages that had the main characters in it, and I did the pages with the police in it, and then someone else colored the scenes with the biker gang and stuff. And then we decided, and on the last 2 issues, I would just do the flashback scenes. So that's kind of what I did on the last 2 books. But I was glad that he kept me on. Like he didn't have to. He could have easily just said, I know you're sick and everything, so we're just gonna go with someone else. But he like, let me keep on for those couple pages each issue.
Well, I noticed how well the colors are. They're the artist leave a lot open for the colors. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like
it's really fun. Yeah, I didn't know that you were the one, but yeah, it's really well done.
yeah, like I have those two. So I have those two because I told you everything I've worked on is over here in my pile.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Oh, I got that too.
so like the first one
Here's
now,
I got some too. I'll show you.
like the first one, I did all the colors like in the first one. This is all me.
Yeah.
But like I had Travis on last week, and we were talking. Like one of the things that he, I guess, kept throughout the whole book was my skies. Like when I first sent him this page with the sky, he was like, I never even like thought of that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and I told him, I was like, well, I know it's in like Denver, like in Colorado or something, but it's drawn like a desert. And when I think of
Right.
desert, I think of an orange sky, So, and it's like sunset, So I was like, so the top of the sky would be a dark, like bluish. So I tried to keep that orange through the whole thing, and and I just like, I mean, what this was like 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, the first issue came out, and just my coloring, how it changed from that one. Well, even in the new one, you can see, but like and this is issue 3. All I did was the flashback scenes, like so that scene. Oh, and I got to do some of the other stuff because in issue 3 I did some of these pages too. They weren't
Oh, nice.
flashbacks, but yeah. So I did up to when the car goes into the water. Like those aren't my colors; those are someone else's. But so the first like 8 pages or so, and I don't know if I did anything else in the back or not. I don't think. But one thing I enjoy, and we were talking last week that the colors that on the characters, those were because when we started this, I asked Travis, I was like, do you have any color direction? Like, is there character sheets or anything to where I know what colors that these, things are going to be? And he's like, no, not really. Just go with what you want. So the only thing I had that was colored was this cover. That was the only thing I saw. So I took and they're not in their suits or anything. They're just kind of, there. So I'm the one who came up with the funky colors for their suits. So,
like back in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah. He said, he's like, you can thank JW for the Miami Vice colors on those.
The Miami Vice, exactly.
And I was glad that was something he kept, and even though he had other people color it, they kept with my color styling, to the most part. And I told him one of the things, one of the worst pictures I had coloring was the very last picture in issue 1, which is because coloring at night is the hardest thing. Is this page, not that page? Which way do I need to go? This page of the them out on the road when they meet the tow truck driver, because there's light sources coming from 2 different directions, because they're they have the tail lights of the car hitting them on the front side, and then the truck's headlights are on the back side. And so it was that was really the first thing outside of my, because when I'm coloring my own stuff, I don't care. Do you know what I'm saying? It's mine, whatever. Well, this was the first time I was actually coloring something that was going to have my name on it by somebody else. So I was like, I got to get this look right. I don't want it to look like, some bum colored it.
Oh, I agree. Hey, yeah. I got second. I was going to show you this. I forgot I had these when you said you had stuff right here. I got an example of what I did for what it is. When I say 101, I usually print up 2. Travis actually told me this. Print up 2 because, what if one happens that mails off and it's not correct? But this is what I was talking about. The wanted poster comic book. I drew that person's face.
Oh, yeah. On there. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And actually, this comic book, after it was printed up, after I did this, I printed up only about 50 of them. And that was my best-selling one because it came out blank like this.
Oh yeah, then you could
and I draw, I sketch on there and $20, and I 5-minute sketch. I do Venom, Batman, or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, people had me drawing what was it? The craziest thing was what is that pirate? Johnny Depp. I'm trying to think of the pirate.
Oh, Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow. Oh, my daughter's guinea pig. Yeah, get it out of here. Yeah, it's a monster.
We have a guinea outside my because I live with my sister and her daughter and I guess my niece's son, and all, yeah. They have creatures, and right outside my door is a guinea pig, and it just squeaks. Oh my! I call it Guinea. I don't know what its real name is. I call it Guinea because that's where my wheelchair sits. So when I go to get out, I guess to talk to Guinea, and she always squeaks at me. I hear her chewing on her cage all night.
All earbuds. My daughter showed me something. Okay. Wow. She showed me earbuds. She got them as a gift. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I should be wearing them now.
Yeah. Damn, well, I charge a little bit more than $50 now. That was when I first started out. That was probably 5. I was still living in York, so it was 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah, when you do things, when you first start out, you, like you're saying, you want to do things for $50 or for free, but you don't realize, how much a whole comic book is, how much time and consuming it is. Some people ask for, when you're new, they I don't know, maybe they think you're doing you a favor, and you are. I mean, I try not to gyp people out, and there's some people that are cheaper than others, and there's some people that I want to pay more. Like my interior colorist, when we reached a certain level, I gave him more money.
Yeah.
Because he's just way too cheap, for me. I think he deserves more. And and again, I would have gave more if we would have had it, but we're as we go on, I ask people how much they charge, and I usually try to get them, and I'm lucky enough to have people, maybe I'll pay them one time, but they'll do something else for me later on until a Kickstarter's done. And I'm lucky to have a lot of people like that. And then, like for my colorist, he's done that twice for me. He did, most of my coloring's already done. Even though I got 4 or 5 pages left, but that's already, everything else is at the colorist and done and pretty much back to me. I think 2 pages haven't come back yet. So I'm moving right along, and then it's all going to the letterist hopefully next week. But I went ahead and paid the colors ahead of time. And my wife's like, why? I go, because he trusted us, so we're going to trust him.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. I mean, he's already paid in full. And so it's kind of cool but we worked together in our first book too.
Yeah.
So, and then, I paid everybody, everybody that, I had some people that I paid for a cover, and then he says, oh, I trust you now. You paid me, so I'll do the rest for free until you get funded. Yeah. Okay, cool. You're not free, but until you get
I work now and you can pay me later, kind of. Yeah.
So I got lucky in that aspect that people trusted me. I might have had to pay them first a little bit, but after that, they, we're as a team. That's how I feel. Believe it or not, I mean, this comic book, I know I'm doing a lot, and I know Vince is doing a lot. But everybody, which I just got really lucky, that everybody that was a part of it became a part of it, not just
working.
Not just working. We became friends too. I mean, we got friends all over now. I got friends all over that. I'm like, man, this is cool, But like me and Phil became friends. I'd get up early at 2:00 in the morning to go to Miami, and then I could get on the phone and I'm talking to him on the way to Miami. So, and then Pete became a good friend. Just all these people that became a part of the story. I mean, it was just amazing how they every step of the way they're calling me like, we're getting there, we're almost, and I'm like, yeah. So it just became an awesome feel as a team, and we still, not only just teams, we became good friends. Chris Hall. It was funny because some people would back out. You know how people back out.
Oh yeah.
Kickstarter, and people back out, and Chris would call me up, and I'm usually the one panicking. So Chris would call me up and go, he just backed out. We just had another back out. I said, I know. I don't know what to do.
Whenever, because you hit that dead spot in Kickstarters, you know what I mean, where you're just fighting. If you get one backer during the day, you think it's a good day. And I sat there for a couple days where I didn't get any, and then I'd like lose somebody, and I'm like, oh my god, no. And that's kind of how it was. And then I ended up in the hospital, and we had like dropped, and I thought, well, this is it. Like, we're done. Like, I'm losing people, and I'm in the hospital. I can't even like promote the darn thing. I mean, I was tempted to go live from my hospital bed, like, you know what I mean? Like, just so I could get people to talk about it. And like, I thought, and I'm like, there's no way this is going to fund. Because, I mean, even going into the last couple days, I only had a $2,500 goal, and I was still $1,000 away from it with a couple of days to go. And everyone's like, oh, don't worry about it, you're gonna get it. I'm like, I don't know, I've only reached like $1,500 in the last, and my Kickstarter ended up running like 40 days because I started it early. So it's like, so in the first 30 days I only raised $1,500. How am I gonna raise $1,000 in the last 3 days? Like, and I'm stuck here. Like, I can't even get on shows and talk about it or anything.
Yeah.
But, everybody else talked about it and shared it like you wouldn't believe. And
I shared it a few times too because I thought it was really cool.
I couldn't believe it.
And of course, I jumped on and bought something too. So
Yeah, like last week I had let's see, I can never remember people's names. I think I don't even know if I have it written down anymore. But I had see, I'm bad because I can't remember people's names. But anyways, I had a guest on last week's show, and he had like 3 days left of his campaign, and he still needed like $1,000 or so. And I told him, I was like, "You're gonna get it," and he's like, "I don't know." Like, all day he was like, "Oh, this Kickstarter's gonna fail." I'm like, "Dude, trust me." I mean, he had like 4 or 5 days left. I'm like, "You're gonna get $1,000 in those couple of days." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "All right, you know what? I'm telling you, you come on my show, we'll talk about it, we'll get it out." And now I end up backing it because thing is, if I have you on the show, I end up usually backing your stuff just because, you know, I usually try to get people on. I usually like to have somebody who has done a project before, if you know what I mean, and then somebody who's new is usually kind of that way they can see, hey, it is possible to get your stuff done even when you're $1,000 behind in your last 3 days.
Yeah.
And then so I try to like help people out that way, and then I always back. Well, I back a lot of stuff. Like this year, I've backed a lot of stuff. Like it took me forever, I guess, because I was kind of burnt on Kickstarter. The first couple things I backed, I still have never got.
Really?
So yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, nah, you know what? And like some of it, one of them was by a friend of mine. Like, and I tell them all the time, hey, I still haven't got, my Kickstarter thing. And they're like, are you sure you didn't get it? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I didn't get it. I mean, because usually I keep all my stuff. Like I have a backlog. I have all these review shows I got to do, but now like my sleep schedule's like, cause I used to do those Wednesday mornings, but now I'm not getting up till 11, 12 o'clock sometimes because my sleep schedule. Like last night I didn't get to bed till 4 in the morning. And then one day last week it was like 5 and it was getting daylight, and I was like, I think I probably should lay down. But so like I know that I haven't got this yet, so it took me a while. But now I'm like, if I only have one thing that hasn't ended, I'm like, oh, I gotta back some more things. I gotta see what else is out there that I haven't backed yet. And I'm picky. I'm a picky backer, because there's just certain things I like and certain things I don't like. And if like I don't remember, I looked at one campaign and they were like on issue, I don't even remember. And I don't usually like to get digital. I usually like to get physical because I'm an old guy and we like our floppies.
Same with me, but
yeah. So
I can't afford
I mean
floppies all the time. Yeah.
But so there was one, and I'm like way behind. Like they had a couple graphic novels out already. So I was like, oh, let me see what this catch-up PDF tier is. They wanted $42 for PDFs. I'm like, nope, not no. I'm not paying $50 for digital copies of a book. That most of the time, the reason I don't like getting digital is because one, I hardly ever open those messages to tell me that there's my digital copy, and if they do, I'm usually on my phone or my tablet to download them to those because, especially not my phone, So I got to remember to go back onto my computer
and download
it there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'd rather get a floppy, like a hard copy. And it's easier for me when I do my review shows too. I can like show people instead of having to like bring up the pages.
Well, I'm lucky you bought mine then.
Yeah.
But no, I'm the same way. I like a floppy, but I've been doing a lot of digital because, if you get, so like you're saying, some are $15, $20 and you get like, there's probably 5 or 6 I like a week. And I'm like, well, $100 and something a week is hard to go by.
Yeah.
But, I'm still getting them. I try to be picky, like you're saying. I try to look at everything. All right, is it something I can catch on to, or can I get a digital number 1? And if it's the number 2, I get a copy, or can I get, afford to get both copies? But that's how I'm looking at that too. I kind of, I pick and choose. I'm always picking and choose. Look at that.
Yeah, that's Mike. I wanted to get this out there first. $40, that's crazy, especially since there's no extra production material cost. Yeah, there's like no shipping, no nothing. Like,
especially if it's already done.
yeah,
You
like
know,
I think the Omni Digital, I think I charged $5. I mean, and that's only just because that's
here's
about the
what.
going rate. A lot of times, I'll send people the. I mean, it's not done, but I'll give like once the Kickstarter's done. Usually, I'm like, oh, you want a digital copy? Here you go, because it doesn't cost me anything for that.
I'm going to try to do something really cool for
Awesome.
Naked, or not Naked, but Return to Sender.
Yeah.
I'm going to do when I do number 2. I just talked to my movie guy, the guy that did our little movies.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to actually sit down and try to do for number 1, do a motion comic book.
Oh. Yeah,
So it'd be different, just giving a digital away. Yeah, so we're gonna work it out to where that's gonna be on one of the tiers of with the comic book, but it'll be a motion comic book instead of just a regular digital one.
Yeah.
So there's not many people that are in that comic book, as you know, so I don't have to have a lot of actors. I'm gonna try to play the main guy, and then I'm gonna get a real horse to play the horse. I'm like,
I wanted to dress up as the horse.
but no, you gotta have a bear sound. We gotta have a girl and a guy, and we got the monster or the my moon demon werewolf, and then a little boy, and that's pretty much it, really. But I'm even going to go as far as try to do the backup story too as a motion one too. The one Travis wrote. So that's something I'm gonna try to do in between before we start Naked Cannibal Campers 2. I'm gonna have like a month or so. Our anniversary, me and my wife, 20 years. We're gonna go off to the mountains for a week. But in that month, I'm gonna try to sit down with him, and we're gonna go over music. We're gonna go over all that, and we're gonna see if we do something different. Fun. And then it'll be totally different.
Yeah, that's an important thing. Like, I mean, my book doesn't lend itself so much to being things that are like its own. Like, maybe eventually we'll do like a charm, like a thing that's like this green crystal, because the crystal eventually becomes a bigger part of the story. That's like
cool.
Like when I was doing the backup stories, I told everybody like, okay, this is where they get the power. Like the writers, like this is where the powers come from, but you don't need to show that in the story because we haven't revealed that yet in the main story. I mean, you see Omni, that's where he gets his, but we haven't revealed this. That this is where the powers come from. So like everyone was writing it, and they would like show. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You don't have to show that. I'm just telling you, so you have background for the story that this is. But we don't need to show their origins. You can just like do a story of that for this character.
I agree. We have the 10-page backup story. David wrote it, and he wrote it a certain way. And I said, that kind of, and it's not the story, but the ending part, how it come about, I can't let you know, but how it was coming about the ending. I said, that's kind of what we're playing off in the third book.
Yeah.
So it's something he learns. So, and so I didn't want him to learn it in that story. So we had to alter the ending, which it turned out really good. Actually, it even enhanced it more. So it's kind of cool. So, but it'll still play. Well, how we did it though, we'll play off with number 3.
Yeah.
Because it'll show that one in number 2, but then in number 3, that's something he learns. It it'll help it that learning be an aha moment for everybody. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. That's my passion one. And again, I like Naked Cannibal Campers, and number 2 would have definitely been out if I didn't have that opportunity to do that. So I'm glad I had the opportunity, but also I'm glad to get back to Return to Sender number 2. And then right after that, we're going to jump on. I'm hoping to have both number 2s done this year and maybe another one done. Plus, if we get those other stuff going, we're going to try to push them. I mean, it's it's a lot. to start off with. You know how that is.
Oh yeah, that's like right now I have, I have Omni I'm working on, and then I also have this Project 34 thing I do like in between time, and then I'm coloring uh, broke down. I have like Travis gave me a page to do, this week, and then there might be one more page for me to color before the book's done. Um, well, I'm sure there'll be one more page. It just depends on how they decide to do a certain scene in the book. And then I just started the Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. I
Oh,
have like a
nice.
story in there that I'm working with yeah, my brain just fried. Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon. Um, so working on that. Plus, I'm doing a special cover for them for something. I'm not sure if I can talk about that yet, but I'm working on something else for them. Plus, I have a book I've been coloring this one book for somebody. Uh, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Dark Storm. It's like a graphic novel for a couple of years, and then it was like last year or something when I was really sick. He decided he was going to have someone else finish it. I was like, that's fine. Like, I ain't gonna cry about that. But then he came back to me about a month or two ago and asked if I wanted to finish it. So I'm finishing up the colors on that. Um, what else do I have? Something else I've been working on. I can't remember. Like, it's just like for a while there, I had nothing. Like, I was like, God, I need something to do, and now all of a sudden it's like, slam! Here you go. Now you've got
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. And everyone's like, are you done with this yet? Are you done with that yet? You don't. I'm like, look, I'm like in the middle of 6 different projects, and there's some days where I just can't do any of it. I mean, like
Yeah.
I'm still recovering, like sitting in this chair all day. Like yesterday, I literally worked probably 22 hours. Like I woke up around 6 in the morning. I came right to my desk, worked straight through, and it was like 4 a.m. I was like, oh, I think I better go to bed. And so I went to bed, and then this morning I got up and I started working some more, and then I went out at lunchtime, and my nephew's out there. I was like, oh my God, there's people alive in this house, and he's like, what? I was like, I haven't seen anybody in 2 days. Like nobody even came to check on me or any. Like I was just like in here, and every time I went out to grab something to eat, there was like nobody out there. So like no one even knew because we live in a house, and most of the time my sister and my niece works nights, so she sleeps all day, and my sister like stays in her room, watches TV in her room, and Dominic he's like 10, so he's like usually in his room playing Nintendo Switch or something. So there's like hardly anyone ever downstairs. So I'm like, all by myself. But so like yeah, everyone's like, do you have this done? Do you have that done? I'm like, not really, because I'm doing 5,000 other things. And I keep telling people, it's like I'm trying to get Omni done because it was supposed to like already be shipped out to people. So like I'm trying to like bust my butt and get that done so I can get that fulfilled to other people. Because the sooner, because I could launch issue 2 right now if I wanted to, I could, but I don't want to because I haven't fulfilled issue 1 yet.
Right. And nobody wants it. Nobody's going to buy it till you do.
Yeah, and
You
like
know what I
at
mean?
least until
Yeah.
I've started sending them out.
Yeah.
Like once I start sending out, then I was like, oh, then I'll launch issue 2 because, like I said, it's done. Now who knows like what tiers and stuff? Because I'm sure I'll add stuff because each of those issues, the way LC wrote them, they're 20 pages. Like, so I always try to like add pages to the story
Yeah.
just to like make it worth a little bit more. Um, so that's kind of like why I said if we reach our goal, I'll add 4 other pages, and it ended up being 5 pages because I kind of finagled it a little bit, like I said, so that old looking page isn't like with a new page. So I try to make it look like it's just an old page from a comic book.
Full page.
And then That way it wasn't, because the way it was broke up, it was like the first 4 or 5 panels were like the old comic book, and then the last panel on the page was like the modern stuff. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'd rather it be so the old school looks like an old page where we're doing it in like sepia tones and stuff, and so it kind of that old looking stuff, and then when you flip the page, it's like the new modern story. So yeah, so we're trying to get those all done. So that I have the one is getting lettered right now. That's the story Gene Hoyle. I don't know if you know Gene. He wrote it. And then, so I said Greg Warnchak. He's the one who drew Belial and all that. And I've worked with him other stuff. Wonder Funders. It's like a group we were part of, which I don't know if it's still around or not. Where we would do like these anthology books. Like we all had, I mean, there was tons of us on those books. And it was like kind of anthology stuff. And I colored a bunch of stuff with Greg on that. And so he did the art on that. And then Owen Watts, he did the colors. And then I'm trying to remember who's. That's what my brain. So I said I've hired like 12, 13 people. So I'm like trying to remember who's doing what. And then Mike Wagner's doing the lettering on that story. Then I have another story that Travis wrote, and Luke Stone is doing. He did the line art. And then I can't remember who's coloring that either. I hired somebody to color it, but I can't remember their name offhand. And then the other story was written by Bill Columbone. Something. He's what's his book? He does a superhero book too. Man, my brain ain't working. But anyways, his artist from that, Louis Riviera, he's doing like the 4 other pages, and then Nathan Pin. See, this is like everybody has to have their thing. They're like little.
I'm bad with names.
Mine is names. Like I that's my thing. I will butcher everybody's name. So yep. Nathan Pinot or something. His thing is 819 Comics. Is like he has a book out called Mr. Marsh. He does like these. Like I said, he does like a lot of like sci-fi type stuff, and his art looks a lot like Kirby-esque stuff.
Okay.
So he's doing that one page, and his wife. I met them, like I said, at Still City Con one year. Me and my son, and we were there in cosplay. I wasn't set up or anything, but they're always there because like they're Pittsburgh people. And we said there will be a page of credits and all. Yes, there will be. Like there's literally going to be a page just as like this is all. And that's usually the inside cover of my books. I don't know, like this one don't have much in it. But, I always in my books the inside front cover is kind of like where I do.
Okay, see, I'm wondering where to do for Naked Cannibal Campers.
Yeah,
where am I going to do that?
Yeah, I don't do like the traditional thing where it's like actually on a page. So all of my books, because when you do your own, you're like, oh, what can I put in? So like the Omni one's really blank. Because it's just me and LC, so it's like there's nothing else on that page.
That's cool.
I don't think and then like Fall from Grace, I decided to make the font a little bit bigger, so it actually filled up some room space. But
that's funny. I did for Return to Cinder. I did wanted posters for all the creators. I got them in here. I'll show you that.
I'm just spreading the love, like I said, because there's only me and LC who do the main book. So I had to I wanted to make sure I hired complete teams for each of those 3 stories, because I could have just had somebody write it and then I could have just drew it and colored it and lettered it again, but I didn't want that. I liked that idea. That was cool. I remember.
Yeah, it was kind of different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually in the back of the books. Let me see if I did it with this one, because you always have stuff you gotta like space to fill. You know what I mean? So I was like, what am I going to do? I know some of these have. Yeah, like so I always do like the meet the creators kind of stuff. Like,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
yeah, since they were like the creators and the stuff. So I did that. And then this was actually my first like professional penciling was in this book is El Diablo Azul. Um, and that was Mike Wagner, which if Mike sees this, I still have never got my copy of this, Mike. It's El Diablo Azul. I did like it's like an anthology, and I drew like a 6-page story in it, and it's really bad. It was even before Darkest Night, so it's really bad art. But I've never even seen it like colored or anything. I just remember drawing it and scanning it, and I didn't have a scanner then, so I had to take the pages to Staples and have them scan it in for me. And
yeah, I got a scanner. Yeah, I scan them in. But yeah,
oh yeah, trust me, Mike. Eventually, we will work on something because I'm always. Actually, one of my ideas with Fall from Grace when I originally started this book, I had an idea for another book, like an anthology series, and it was called Tales of Grace or Tales from, and it was the idea of this town of Grace is going to be like the weird stuff happens there, and so I had an idea to have like an anthology with different, like I didn't really want anything to do with it. I just wanted to make the book. Like I said, with Hooligan Alley Comics, at one point I had 10 different books in a series of, like in different levels of being completed. And so I was trying to do an anthology where some weird like things throughout time, like, it takes place whenever. But the town would be like the main character, kind of like if you remember that show Erie, Indiana.
yeah.
I wanted it something kind of like that, where it was, these stories that weren't really connected. The only connection was the town.
The town. That's pretty cool.
So I never, it's back before I was part of the community, and it was hard for me to like find people who wanted to work on stuff, just to work on stuff to get there. Like I said, I was so lucky when I Fall from Grace because both of those guys, they have never got a dime for any of that yet from me yet. And we've been working on that book for years. So as I said, we have like six issues, but we made it into one book. So it's like a 60-page. You can do it far better than you give yourself credit for. I mean, I might, like, even a couple years ago, when I was like, I came up with this anthology idea for like a charity book, and it was called Captain Courageous and his something friend, and it was the main story was this kid who had cancer, and like I was gonna have like he becomes like this. He has a video game that he likes to play, Captain Courageous, and he becomes that superhero because cancer is like a big thing for me. And I had seen a story on ESPN, and there was a kid that had, pediatric cancer, and that was something like I bawled my eyes out. Like, so like it just gave me this idea to do this anthology. But like I shopped it around. Like I was like, hey, is anybody? I'm trying to get people together to do this anthology, and all the money we raise, I have 2 charities picked out. All the money's gonna go to these charities and everything. But everyone's like, well, I want this. I want to make this much. I want you to pay. I'm like, I'm not paying anybody. Like, I'm not getting paid for it. Like, this is a charity book. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. Like, if you can't like do something for kids with cancer, then I don't know who you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
So I still have the Facebook page up and everything, but I've never done anything.
The cancer. It's there. Maybe now you have connections. You can actually get something done after you catch up with what you're doing.
Yeah. But this thing, I always have stuff. I have a folder on my computer that is my Hooligan Alley Comics folder, and I have just filled with comic books I've started in different. Like I have one that I had an idea, and it's called the Phantom Ranger, which is actually a old comic, and it's in public domain or whatever. And I came up with this idea to like redo it as a sci-fi western, kind
cool.
of Galaxy Rangers kind of thing. And I have the first Travis Stunt wrote it for me, and I had an artist, and she started it, and then she was like, "I'm not going to be able to finish it." So I have this book that's written, and like, I'm not too long ago, he asked me, "He's like, are we ever going to do that book?" I was like, "Yeah, it's in my list eventually. I don't want to draw it. I want someone else to do it. I just don't have the money at that point to like hire an artist, because then I have other superhero books, like I showed you the one. I have another one, kind of like the Justice League Avengers type of book. It's called a Mega Squad, and that one I did have an artist. He started it, and then he just flaked out. I got like 2 pages and never seen him again. And then a couple years ago, I was in the hospital, had surgery, and like I had to have one of my toes amputated at that time. And I was in the hospital for like a week, and I'm on all these pain medication. And I wrote a whole 4-issue book called Zeke, and it's like a kind of post-apocalyptic type story. And I had an artist doing it, and then he just disappeared again. Like, I still see him every once in a while on Facebook. But I'm like, and I was paying him. Like, he was charging like $65 a page or something. And I was like, well, I can do. At that point, I wasn't even on disability yet, so I wasn't working. And I was like, well, I can give you like $60, or or $120 every 2 weeks or something. So it'd be like 2 pages every 2 weeks. And he did like 2 pages or something, and I never heard back from him. So I'm like, now I can't find. Wow. I can find the first issue, the script for the first issue, but I can't find it because I wrote it in a tablet. You know what I mean? Because I was in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
And so I remember I typed up the first one, but I never got around, and I can't find the tab. So I've tried to like rewrite it, and it just isn't the same. Like I can remember little bits of it here and there. Actually, I had that book started twice, and both times someone like flaked out on me.
Wow.
So eventually, I'd like to get that one out, because that one was it's not a superhero story. It's like, and I literally wrote it 4 issues in like a couple days. Just sat in the hospital with my tablet and pen, and just like was writing.
Start going at it, yeah. When you get that idea, or when you get that nick, you want to just do it. Yeah. So
I still have like parts from it. I have like the Bible, because I always do those for all my stuff. I make a Bible, just because if someone else works on it, I want them to know like this is my idea.
Oh, cool. So that's really cool. So I'm gonna have to get going.
It's like 3 hours, so I think
we're about, it's about 3 hours.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna. But I super enjoyed. This is really awesome. I mean, I loved talking with you. It was I learned some things, and we kind of got some ideas. I like the cards too.
Yeah, I will.
They're cool. Even doing sketch cards seems like it's popular.
Yeah, the way I did it, because you can buy blank sketch card. Like I could get them from, like I said, Kablam, and they'd just be like, it could have my thing, but then blank. But they're cost me as much as a trading card does. I have a printer. I can make up my own thing still, and I can print them out I have card stock, print them out.
Oh wow!
Just I designed the front and the back. Like the back's kind of like how yours was. It just has like the Omni logo thing, and it says something like, "Thanks for backing Omni #1," or whatever. And then I have like this blank white space, and that's where I actually autograph it in there.
Okay.
And then, is whatever. Some of them are Omni. Yeah. Some of them are Omni. Some are some of the other characters, Pamela Eaton, which is like the female character. Some of them are Melting Man. Some are, some of the other characters that show up in the book. And I think for like Mike's, I know he likes characters from my other book, so I might give them a sketch. But one thing I still need to do, I was looking over the campaign real quick, and since I did most of that while I was in the hospital, one of the backer goals was I was supposed to do a drawing for a special thing, and I realized I never did it. So maybe next week on the show, I'm going to do that drawing live, and the person who wins,
Oh, cool.
physical backer, one of the physical backers, they're actually going to get a sketch cover. I have not of Omni or whatever. I actually have a stack of them, and because when I do my
Yeah, so do I.
book, if there's a sketch cover that comes out that month, I usually grab it. So I have a stack of them, and I will draw whoever they want on that cover. So, and I never told anybody what that thing was going to be. I just remember putting it in there, and then I almost died. And I the other day I was just going through to make sure I had all the stuff ordered, and I was like, oh crap, I never did that. So,
well, that's cool.
So, yeah,
that's really.
But
cool.
I won't do it on a Marvel cover because the older Marvel sketch covers were terrible.
Really?
They were like almost glossy.
Oh.
And so like ink would just not dry on them, and if you were penciling it, you know what I mean, it was like
to dig in kind of.
It was almost like etching it on instead of actually drawing on.
Well, the glossy ones, because I got that glossy one with the where it has the wanted poster. I used permanent I like a Sharpie, and it stayed on it, but it had to dry, or it would just.
Yeah. So, and I actually do have a bunch of blank sketch covers for that Darkest Night, because that was one of the things I ordered when I did that print run. So I still have like about 5 of those in my box. So maybe somebody will get lucky enough to get one of those.
Oh wow! Yeah, I got some Return to Cinder sketch covers left. I got about maybe 15, I think, 15 or 20 left. So I'm gonna.
How much do you charge for those? Like if I wanted a sketch.
If you want, it varies for what you want. Like Return to Cinder, I don't charge a lot. I just did one for $85 with Batman sketch cover, and that was too cheap, he said.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm going to tell you, Brett Booth, to get Brett Booth to do you a commission sketch cover, it's $4,000.
Oh shoot!
Because he don't like to do them.
I'll show you what I did. If I could show you on the phone. It turned out pretty good. I don't know if I can show you. I don't know if it'll look.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, and it's I did see that. You must have posted that online because I remember seeing.
Yeah, posted online. Yeah. Can't see it good, but it turned out pretty good. It had. You normally only draw one person. Mm-hmm. On mine now on Return to Cinder, I'll draw 2 people, whatever you want with fighting my character or whatever. But normally I draw, if you usually add more people, you add more money you charge. I've charged anywhere from, 65 to 185 for them, depending on what they want. They wanted a double colored cover. But they're telling me that's still too cheap. So,
because I've been trying to get some commissions of the Gunslinger from the Dark Power.
Yeah.
That's like whenever Travis started promoting your book, and I remember he had shared something. I think the original cover was it like him coming through the doors?
Yeah, that was going to be the original cover, and then we changed it. That became a pinup. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like just the look of him. I was like, oh, it's the Gunslinger, and that's Courtney. That's her favorite book. I mean, she had a quartet tattoo and stuff. And,
oh wow!
I mean, she was really into it, and then she got me into it. And I remember, so I've been reading those books, and I'm like really into it. But it sucks because I would read the book and then I'd talk to her about it. Like that, she was a huge Stephen King fan. Like she read everything Stephen King did.
Yeah.
And but then I'd read it and I'd talk to her, and but now I really don't have that person to talk to about it, but I still love those stories. Like, because I don't know, but I really like the Gunslinger, and I've tried to get people to do that. And I thought that kind of,
I'll do it. Just message me later. We'll work out something. and then price wise and stuff,
Yeah.
that because you're a fellow artist and stuff. But and if you got the comic book, I don't know if you have one.
I just got the regular cover.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have a sketch cover. But I'm saying if you had, I mean, do you want me to do it on Return to Sender? Or you want me to do it on something? But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
However you want to do it,
Yeah.
we'll work it out for you. I'll take care of you. I'd love to do that. And again, that's something I like doing too. When someone says something I get interested in, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. So
Yeah, because I do that stuff for it, and then I collect Scarlet Witch stuff. I don't know if you can see over my head.
Oh yeah, Scarlet Witch. Yep, I see it.
That's why in that, if you noticed in her picture, that was her. That was her
right there. Yeah,
her character, and so
I see that.
she collected a lot of Scarlet Witch stuff. Well, I bought her a lot of Scarlet Witch stuff. So after she passed away, I started collecting it for her. So like, there's birthday presents up there. Like since then, I've gotten her Christmas presents.
Oh.
And so like, I have every Scarlet Witch vinyl, pop vinyl they've made. There's 2 new ones that came out with at the end of the show, and the one I ordered from Amazon, it doesn't come out till like the end of summer. And then the other one, someone's like, "Oh no, that's not the one. There's a Hot Topic exclusive one." I was like, "What do you mean? There's a Hot Topic?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's sold out in 2 minutes." It's like, you got to be kidding me. So I had to order it from like someplace in Europe and pay like $40 for it.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I have to have it. I'm like,
yeah.
But then like I started complaining because there was no like I used to be able to get Scarlet Witch stuff for practically nothing, and now it's all like super expensive because of the show.
It's gone up. Yeah.
Because of the show, and everyone's like, "Well, you should be happy." I was like, "No, because I'm not trying to sell this stuff. I'm not buying it to resell it. I'm buying it to for Courtney." Like,
you should have bought 2 of them.
Yeah, so like the newest thing I got there's like from the show I ordered, someone was making 3D printing the headband thing, so I got one of those.
Oh wow, that's cool. Yeah.
So I get all kinds of.
I like to see a 3D printing. I like to get a hold of somebody who does 3D printing. Maybe do Return to Sender as a 3D print.
Yeah, I'm trying to find someone who does it cheap because I would like eventually to do like one of the tiers have an Omni action figure.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, all right.
Yeah, well, like I said,
Brian wants to know if he missed. Dustin actually messaged me, Brian, right before the show and said he couldn't make it. So we can schedule either you or Dustin or someone to come back on to talk about Kerra Prime one of the upcoming weeks. I'm not sure when they're launching. But whenever you just want to get back on, let me know because I like to have even more people. I mean, I've had shows where we had like 5 people on here and we can just talk about anything. But before we go, because I didn't get around to my question for you, David, that we ask everybody who comes on the show: if you're a dinosaur, what would you be and why? And you can't use the cop-out answer of a T-Rex.
All right, I'd be a. I think I'd be not a raptor because I'm always nosy. I always want to get things done. I'm always looking around, going, "What are you doing?" So they kind of looking around, figuring out things, get things done. If I can't get it done, I can figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's maybe me. I'm not a killer, but I'm always trying to figure things out.
Good answer. I always tell everybody I'm like a Stegosaurus, but I would need to be like a meat-eating Stegosaurus because I don't like vegetables at all. I'm a meatitarian, which works out. When I came back from my surgery, the nurses would come in like, "All right, we need you to eat lots of protein." I was like, "Oh, so you're telling me I need to eat lots of meat?" No problem there. I don't know, you can't really see it, but I have a stack of beef jerky up here. Like 4 or 5
there you go.
Because my nurse brought it for me one time. I was like, "Oh, I can eat beef jerky?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's good protein." I was like, "You shouldn't have told me that." because
Yeah.
now I live on beef jerky.
Oh yeah. Beef
Because I
jerky
had to
good.
cut out a lot of stuff. Like I've had diabetes for 20 years, but I didn't take it seriously.
Right.
When you're 20 years old, nothing can hurt you.
Right.
And then
Oh,
when you're 46 and getting a leg chopped off, it kind of like makes you say, I probably should have paid attention.
yeah.
So I drink a lot
Yeah.
of this, and
Yeah.
but I still need the soda from time to time. So I get Dr. Pepper. Look, Dr. Pepper zero sugar. You should sponsor the show and send it to me for free.
There you go.
Because I love the not all zero sugar. Now like this Dr. Pepper cherry, it tastes good. I get like some of the A&W stuff too. It tastes, but like I don't know. I don't like diet. Diet tastes funny for some reason, or even like
I like.
Coke Zero or the Pepsi Zero sugar. I don't like, but this doesn't taste bad. And like
Yeah,
the A&W,
they never did. Yeah, the Dr Pepper. I'm a diet do guy. I gotta
yeah,
have my diet do. Diet do and whiskey.
you know what? I have
Diet do and whiskey.
I have zero sugar Mountain Dew, and it tastes just like the regular Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yes, I like the now that I'm hooked on the diet. When I drink the regular, it's too sweet.
Sweet. It
Yeah,
tastes like syrup. Yeah. And then
yeah,
I also have like that new Major Melon.
yeah. I tried
Zero
that. That
sugar.
was good. Yeah, that was good.
So I try to now I try to get on my nephew all the time because he's 10 years old and he's kind of chubby. Let's put it that way. And I try to get on him. Like his mom doesn't buy soda anymore, but she still buys like Lipton tea that comes in the can.
Yeah.
And I show him that has just as much sugar in it as soda does.
Like, yeah, it does.
You're not just because it's tea, it doesn't mean it's healthy. So.
Well, I lost about 15 pounds. I'm trying to lose it back down. I'm trying to go down at least another 50. So yeah. I'm gonna work slowly, bring it down.
When I first went to the hospital with the first surgery, they can weigh you in your bed, and I was like 271, and I went back 3 weeks later after I fell, and I was down to like almost 20 pounds. I was down to 254 or something. So the doctor's like, whatever you're doing at home, you keep doing. I said, I quit drinking soda. Like I haven't had a freaking sugary drink. Like I might drink one glass of soda, like Coke or something, once a month. Or like the other day, me and my nephew stopped at Burger King and I got a Coke. And I didn't we got out of the car. He's like, what about your drink? I said, you can have the rest of it. Like I just needed enough when I was eating this burger. Like I can't drink that crap. But I don't like diet soda because that Diet Coke tastes terrible.
Yeah, it's not the same. No.
Mike says he'd be a Triceratops also, because you're a big guy, right? Big guys like the Triceratops. All right, well, I'm going to let you go because we've been on here for almost 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
I think we beat.
Which I had fun. I had a good time.
I've noticed the shows where it's only me and one other person, we go for 3 hours. Like I was on with who was it? Meredith. She was on one of my earlier shows before the surgery, and we went over 3 hours. And we just bullcrap like this. We didn't talk about anything else.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Well, the longest I went was 5.5 hours.
Wow.
I went one day. I got on one show, and I had to get up at 2 a.m. to be at work at 3, and I literally got off the phone when I was supposed to be waking up. And then go to work, or off the cat pod.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you for coming on. I will.
Thank you for having me.
I know Mike had put the link in the comments. I will also.
Thank you, Mike.
Share it out. I'm terrible with YouTube. I guess like someone had messaged me last week, like I went back on the YouTube to watch and you never put the links on. I was like, I don't understand YouTube. I just share the video there so I have a place where it's saved.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like people ask me all the time, what's your YouTube channel? I was like, I'll have to get back to you because I don't know what it is.
I ascribe to it, so I'm a subscriber. Yeah.
I think you're like the third one. And
right.
One of them is my son. So
yeah, there you go.
I know. Like my son is an artist. Like actually all three of my boys have been like dabbling in the art And that's what they always say about, you should have Joshua come on. I was like, he's come on anytime. But I don't know. Maybe he's too shy. I don't know.
Well, that's like my daughter. You've seen her put the guinea pig on here, but she won't sit on behind here and talk.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
She's a great artist, too.
Oh, I was stuck to my seat there. But that's when you know you've been sitting too long. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I'll go ahead and share that out, like I said. And I know it looks like Mike had dropped the link here in the comments again, because Mike.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
Mike does the mic drop. If you've ever been in chats with him, he always he shares everybody's projects.
Yeah, he does.
Go ahead and check it out on Indiegogo. How many more days do we have on that campaign?
I think 11. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't looked. But but there's original artwork there. If people there's still some of the Javier Lugo's Naughty covers still done. I think the other covers sold. There's all my original covers. Most of them I think are there. So go on, because not only you'll get the cover, you'll get colored prints of them, and the comic books. So like if there's two, like I drew one original drawing, and then you get the prints of the Naughty version and the original version, and you get the comic book of the Naughty version and the original version. So you get kind of quite a bit of stuff, plus all the digital stuff we're going to.
I wonder if I can do a naughty and nice cover of Omni, if that would go over well. That was. I told Steph Wilson in a chat the one day. I was like, for issue 3 of Omni, I created a woman just so I can get a Steph Wilson variant cover.
Yeah. There you go.
Actually, I didn't, but that's just when the female character. I mean, there is female characters in the book, but that's.
Yeah, we almost had Tim Vigil draw a cover for us.
Yeah.
We were supposed to reach a certain level. We didn't reach it, but
I remember that. Yeah.
We're not doing too far. Not doing too bad from it. So, but we might. Me and Vince are still talking about throwing the money at him, and maybe for number 2, we'll see.
Yeah, I have been in talks with somebody for my variant cover for issue 2. And I was like, when they first gave me the price, I was like, is that just for like the line art? And he goes, oh no, that's complete. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I talked to somebody else, and that they wanted that much just for the pencils. And I was like,
oh yeah,
I'm one of those weird people. I hate paying. Like, someone tells me a price for a cover, I'm like, and what do you charge per page? Like, for me, I charge the same for a cover as I do a page, which makes sense.
Yeah.
People are like, no, you got to charge like 4 times as much for a cover as you do. I'm like, okay.
Well, they do that because a cover needs to be dynamic and stand out. Yeah. So that's why.
I'd rather draw a cover than interiors any day.
Oh yeah, because it's you got to laying things out.
Yeah, it's just a big,
Yeah.
Oh, let's not stroke the ego of Steph Wilson now. Steph is great. Yeah, Steph. He was one who like really shared out my Omni stuff to get me over. Him and Courtney. I'm a brain fried. I know you know who I'm talking about. Mike's in there right away. Courtney. Mike, Courtney, what's her last name? But anyway, I will let you go because we're going on 3.5 hours. We've been going now for half an hour. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's. I don't know.
But we only got some more to say. We're like, hey, what about this?
I don't know if you know, like in Western Pennsylvania, that's like the thing. It takes you 90 minutes to go. Like you're like, all right, we're gonna go now. All right, and then you say goodbye, and then you're like, all right, and you walk to the door and you talk a little bit more. You're like, all right, I'll see you later. And you walk out to the car. Then you stand out to the car and you talk for a little bit. All right, I'm going to go. And you get in the car, and then you're talking through the window for another.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm starting the car. All right, we're going to go now.
Yeah. All right, bye.
Courtney Rose Dameron. See, I knew Mike would know. Courtney Rose. She shared the crap out of it, too. Some of the great people. So, yeah, I would tell everybody who's on the show next week, but I totally forgot because I don't have my notes written down. but and what day it is. But I do know on the 23rd that Mike and Steph Cannon is going to be here, and we're going to be talking about their new album, comic book thing. 'Cause Mike does music. He's a heavy metal
Oh, wow.
band, so they kind of mix their comics and their music. And I know one of the tiers he shared today was like this multicolored vinyl, very psychedelic looking. So yes,
Very
they're
cool.
actually putting out an album, like a vinyl album, which is, I guess, making a comeback. I've seen them at Walmart. They have more records than they do CDs anymore at Walmart.
Oh yeah, people are buying them like crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But thank you, David, for coming.
Thank you for
check
having
out
me.
his Naked Cannibal Campers #1 on Indiegogo. And do you have like a website or something? Like, could they still get copies of Return to Sender somewhere?
Yeah, just message me on Facebook. I got Return to Sender group, and you can make a Cannibal Camper group, or you can get on mine and message me. We're gonna build a website and all that. We're getting it together. It's RMD Comics.
I have a website.
That's all RMD Comics do.
I have a website I haven't updated in like 2 years. HooliganAlleyComics.com.
Yeah.
You go there, and it shows like stuff from like years ago. I'm terrible at updating stuff. I'm terrible at it. I need to become really rich so I can just hire somebody to run all my.
It'd be a lot easier in life.
Yeah.
To be in everything.
Yeah, just to do it all for me.
Yeah.
And then
it's hard to do everything yourself.
It literally is a full-time job. Like people like my nephew, one of my other nephews, I was like, well, I got to go do some work. He's like, oh, that's not work. That's a hobby. I was like, no, it's work. I mean, I've worked full-time jobs that I don't work as hard as this job.
Oh, I know. Yeah, my wife was like, I had to tell her that, look, I'm working 60 hours a week at my real job, and then I come home and I'm not playing when I come home and sit down and draw for another 2 hours. So sometimes you can't. Sometimes I'm so tired. I get 14-hour day. You want to come home, you're like, I can't do it.
I know what you mean. So how about them T-shirts, or do I have to just take the one off your back?
Oh, we're gonna these two going. Yep. Yeah.
I did have at one point. I had Hooligan Alley comic shirts, which on the front it had like the "Hello, my name is," and it said, "Hello, my name is Hooligan." Like it had like one of it looked like a sticker, and then on the back had the Hooligan Alley logo. And I had messed up on one, and so the sticker was upside down on the chest thing because I made them myself. And that one, like everybody wanted that one, like with the stick. So I had to start making them with like the sticker upside down.
That's actually a pretty funny idea. That someone put the sticker upside down on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, not on purpose, but on accident. But it's on purpose for the shirt. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. So now I'm gonna put Return to Sender upside down.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. Did yours have? I'm trying to because I get so many things. Did yours have like that stamp on it, like on the packages?
Yep.
All right, that's what I thought. Yeah, because I was trying to remember, because like I said, I get every other day. I think I'm getting a package. It seems like. Yeah. And so I have trouble remembering what's what or which ones I've got, and that's my problem. I think I have a stack. I don't one of those people who like keep my stuff boxed and do like the unboxing stuff. I open it as soon as I get it, but then I put it in a pile, and I'm like, I got to get around to reading this so I can do a review on it. But I try to kind of do it so when I do the review, they have something else coming out, like because I knew that's kind of like why I did Return to Sender when I did, because
you also appreciate that, yeah.
Naked, so you can like tie it together, or at least if I know where you can go and get the stuff. Like some people, they do a Kickstarter and then they never put the book out anyplace else, like except for if you just see them in a con or something. Whereas you try to like
mine's out in like 9 stores in all over Florida. Yeah.
See, that's the problem. I live here in Podunk, Pennsylvania, which I tell like everyone like you're lucky you've got stores. Like I said, my nearest one is like an hour away, and the other one's about 40 minutes. And the problem is they're owned by the same people. Like it's the same store. So there's two that's relatively close, but they're owned by the same person. So if they don't want your book at this store, they're not going to put it in their other store.
Yeah, that's true.
So then my only other thing is down in Pittsburgh, which is, a little far away from me. but we'll see. I have a friend that runs a couple stores down around there. In May 21st and 22nd, you'll be able
Yeah.
to find me at a con in Pittsburgh. It's outside. It's at the waterfront. It is uh, Three Rivers Con. It's called Three Rivers Con Light. So we're going to be outside in tents and have fun.
Oh, nice.
That's if you like Comic Cons and you're around the area, that's a good one to go to because it is a comic convention. They don't have movie celebrities coming in or Power Rangers. If they have any named people, it's always comic book people. And there's some guys who are always there because they're from this area. Like Scott McDaniels is from like the Pittsburgh area. Ron Friends is like right up the road. So those guys are always there because that's their comic book store. Really is New Dimensions. So like they actually go to those stores, and so there's a couple other guys that are around the Pittsburgh area. I don't know. I'm going to screw her name up. I can't remember. Sarah Song. See, I'm terrible. If I look at it, I know I can say it, but I can't. But she's from she's not originally from Pittsburgh, but she's been here for the last couple of years, and she just bought a house here. That's her on her Facebook. She's always talking about it, so she'll be moving in. So I told her she's like officially a Pittsburgher and that. So, but all right, I am going to go this time because
well, that's okay, man. I'm listening.
Yeah.
I like I said, I had a good time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you're welcome to come back anytime. I know, like whenever you get ready for Return to Sender or whatever else, if you're gonna, always come back.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll definitely come back. I had a good time.
Yeah, I'd like to just
message me though about message me
metal cards. Yes. Yeah, so.
Well, metal cards, and also if you want me to, if you're gonna go Indiegogo, I'll do something.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna check it out, see what I need to do, like how hard it will be for me to
copy and
paste it. Yeah, I'm sick because.
Yeah, pretty much because you're not going to change any prices. Or anything.
Yeah, I'll probably change some. Like if I go to Indiegogo, I know I'm gonna have like an Indiegogo only cover.
Right.
That's the kind of the thing I like to do.
That's what we did. Yeah.
Just to give those people, something different, and the people who already backed it. If they, there's some of those people who like everything.
All the covers.
I had one person who actually did that and they get all the covers. I'm like, I don't know why you'd get 6 of the same comic, but hey, you want all the covers, you get all the covers. Right?
Well, people like the covers, like the artwork.
Yeah. I really like the Greg Kimmett cover. I don't know, I don't feel like bringing it up, but he actually drew that for me just as like fan art during like when the book originally came out, and I had forgot all about it, and I was just going through some files of the old stuff, and I was like, oh, there's this picture that Greg Kimmett drew like 4 years ago. And so I had someone ink it, and then I colored it, and I was like, that looks like a cool cover. And so we did that. Yeah. And so, that's probably my favorite cover. I don't know why.
Yeah. You always pick your favorite. For some reason, there's one you always like the best.
It's not my cover. It's a cover somebody else did. Now my computer's gonna go slow. I'm just gonna bring it up. If my cover, where is it at? Open it. My computer sometimes it's like lightning fast, and then when you want it to do something, it's like
just goes slow.
I'm gonna just share it here real quick. If I can. I'm still learning this thing because it's not.
Yeah, I don't know how to do any of that either.
Yeah, there's the Kimmett cover. Then we also have that as a.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
As a Virgin cover. Yeah, I liked it. Like I said, he drew that a couple years ago, and then I had someone do the inks on it, and then.
He probably forgot he drew it.
I think he did. And then when I shared it, he's like, oh, I remember that. And I was like, yeah, it's really cool. Like, I don't know if you follow Greg at all. He does a lot of like character stuff now, like real people drawings and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I really like that cover. So
Oh, yeah, that's really cool.
yeah,
I remember seeing it on the Kickstarter.
yeah, it's pretty peachy keen, I think.
Oh, I
But
like it a lot. Yeah.
yeah, and like I said, we have it as a virgin cover too. So, but so I might draw up a new cover or see if I can finagle somebody to draw a new cover and not charge me a whole bunch. And,
I'll do one for free.
oh well, if you want to do one for free,
Yeah, that's what I said. If you go on there, I'll
oh
do
yeah,
something for free for you. Yeah.
yeah, I'm always up for free.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
I always like free. I never turn down free. I mean, I don't care what it is. If it's free,
Yeah, you should, because you get a bigger, you'll get a bigger print run, be a little more money for next one.
yeah. That's why I got the Sookie cover, but Trish wanted the DVD. The choice was made, and that's why I backed Return to Sender. Aside from the fact David is a cool guy, and what's my say? I got my second COVID shot around the 21st. Oh, I'm actually getting mine this Friday. Well, a week from today, my first one. So I was scheduled to actually get it a couple weeks ago, but then I didn't have a ride. So that's one of the problems with now relying on everybody else to do things. You know, it's like I used to be able to just, if I need to go somewhere, walk up to the bus stop. Now it's not a thing. So, all right, now I think we should go. So I will let you go because it is. I don't know where you're on the East Coast too, right? So
yeah, I'm in Florida, so
yeah. Oh, that's yeah. I always tell everybody I need to go to Florida because that's like where everybody's at. Like everybody in Florida.
I was born and raised here, so yeah.
Well, I was born and raised, unfortunately, here in the middle of nowhere.
Well, when I was born here, it was the middle of nowhere, really, but it grew so fast.
Yeah,
it's amazing how fast it grows.
It just seems like there's so many stores down there and conventions. Like every week, I see friends of mine like at store signs. So I'd like to have a store signing. I had one scheduled years ago, and then it was like right near the beginning of my cancer stuff, so I ended up having to back out, and I haven't been able to get back to one yet. It was like not free comic book day, but it's the other free comic book day thing they do in October. You know,
yeah,
whatever that Halloween fest or whatever.
Yeah,
for one
I did my first one. I did on free comic day, I think, but then after that, they're fun. They're and it, believe it or not, it draws people. I didn't think it would. Until I got into this industry, I didn't think how many people are really interested in the indie industry. So it's kind of really cool because you get unique stories you can't get anywhere else. Like my Naked Cannibal Campers, you can't get it. It wouldn't be on a
you're not going to
mainstreams. It's not perverted, but it does. It's a rated R book. So
even mine, like Omni, it's not. I mean, I don't even know if there's probably not the most controversial scene might be him kissing her on the last page. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no,
yeah, like, you know what I mean? Oh, here, I forgot that was in here. See, look, here's a spoiler. The final image. Oh my God, they kiss.
Oh my gosh.
But
I'll show you mine, but it can't. I don't think it can.
But earlier, when I was talking about the president, I forgot in the end of this book because I'd already started issue 2. It was like the first couple page. See, we've got.
Oh, look who that is.
Yeah. Yep. So that's why I said we might change those pages. Not because of my beliefs, but because I learned during my Kickstarter. Sometimes if you share something with the wrong people, it can affect your book. So I right at the beginning, I shared something without thinking, and it almost like Travis had to say, "Dude, you effed up." And I'm like, "What'd I do?" And he told me. I'm like, "Oh, no." So I
oh yeah.
Yeah,
I don't do any politics on.
Well, it wasn't even that. When I worked at DC, I worked with a certain artist who no longer works in DC, who is a very controversial artist.
Okay.
And I had a card, like a character, a comic book character of his, that he signed this card for me when I worked there. And not thinking, I posted it on Twitter, and it was right at the beginning of my thing, and I guess some people saw it and got upset about it. So I wasn't thinking of it that way. I was thinking, here is a comic book professional who I had worked with, and he took the time out of his day to talk to somebody who was just starting out, and signed something for me, and not thinking, oh my God, it's this guy, and it almost cost me my book. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I want to even
I agree.
do that. So it's better just not to do it either way, and just put a neutral person in the book. So again, Travis is the only person in the real world that has a copy of this, and so he'll probably be the only person that has the original first two pages with a former
that's funny.
former president. So it might be worth something, Travis. All right. Well, now I'm going to go because the dog is getting mad. He said, "All right."
Yeah, the dog is barking now.
4 hours. Have been
I knocked one of my cords, and the dog thinks it's someone outside, so it started barking.
That sounds like our house. We have a dog that's deaf. So how people with headphones on, how they will talk really loud because they can't hear themselves?
Yeah.
That's kind of how the dog is. So he can only bark at level 11. And he barks at everything. Like yesterday, he was on the steps, and I was like near the bottom of the steps, and so he could see my shadow like on the wall. And I reached to pick something up, and he must have looked up and saw my shadow, and he just flipped out. Like he's like, rah, rah, rah. I'm like, shut up! Like it's only me, you stupid dog.
Oh, these dogs will bark at You'll go outside, and then come right back in. They'll bark at you. I mean, like I'm your owner. Why are you barking at me? The little guys. We got Dachshunds. We got 5 dogs. We got 2 Dachshunds, 2 English Springer Spaniards, and 1 Australian Shepherd. And they,
my sister,
little ones are really just.
Yeah. My sister
they just want to bark at everything.
My sister has 2 pugs, so I can always tell when someone, like, if she's not home, they will bark constantly. And then you can always tell, they're like the doorbell. Like, if someone pulls up into the driveway, they start going off, so somebody's here. So I'll be out in the kitchen, I'll hear something, I'm like, well, Tracy's home, or Will's home. So.
Oh shoot! They'll bark and think someone's there, and there's no one there, and they're just barking at the door.
Yeah,
I have to open up the blinds. I got a door, the window that covers the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole door. I have to open up the blinds that are inside so they can see outside to make sure there's no one there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's no one there. Stop barking.
Okay.
It's crazy.
All right.
Well, we're gonna go this time.
We're gonna go. All right. But thanks for stopping by again for the 45th time now. And make sure everyone goes and checks out Naked Cannibal Campers. And there's a couple of DVDs left. I might back it just so I can get the DVD.
There's. Oh, cool. Yeah, there's 4. About 10 or 20 left. 20 left out of 50. I think there's 20 left out of 50.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's it. And then,
good luck, guys. Maybe this time.
Yeah.
Well, things just keep popping into my head. I can't help it.
Yeah.
I could have asked you the other question. I have a question I came up with last week for return visitors, so they don't have to get the same dinosaur question. So you'll have to come back just so you can get the second question.
Okay, I will.
All right. I'm gonna go. It is now Saturday.
Yep.
If my brother is still here, I doubt he is because I doubt he sat here for almost 4 hours. because he's my brother and he got stuff to do. But happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Yeah, it's his birthday today. He's a whole 47 years old. And
oh wow!
Yeah, so he's a whole 6 months older than I am. And we have the same name. That was always fun in high school, or even like in school in general. Because they would call us down to the office. They're like, James Sims, please come to the office. And then we'd both go down. And I'd be like, why? Like, which one did you want? Just go back. Once we figured out, we got out of so much stuff doing like that because they didn't know which one that they needed. So.
That's funny.
Or we had a guy who, one of the teachers, and that's what we'd have to, on Mondays we'd go pick up our lunch, our lunch card or whatever, and we'd always be together. So it'd be like James Sims, and then James Sims. He's like, and that's when I guess Bob Newhart was big, so he'd always call us. My name's Bob. This is my brother. Yeah, my little brother Bill. My brother Bill. My other brother Bill. Yeah,
this is my other brother Bill. Yeah.
So that's what he's like. This is Jim, my other brother Jim. All right. All right. I don't know who's still out here. I bet you Alfred and Mike are our last two straggling viewers. They are. What I remember, always watched baseball or something to go after midnight, and it'd be the night owl people or something. I don't know what they call them, but all right. I'm gonna go, and you have a good night. Oh, we got a third viewer. Now we got to stick around. We got a third.
Okay, viewer. What's up? Let's start all over. Let's start all over.
All right. All right. Well, I will let you go. Go take care of whatever, and you have a good night, and I will close the show. So.
All right. See you later. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Oop. I think he was going to say something, and I cut him off. But anyway, it's been a long night. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know we didn't really get to share a whole lot with the Naked Cannibal Campers, but we had a good conversation, a good hangout here in the Hooligan Alley Hangout. Maybe one of these days we'll actually do it from an alley. I don't have many of those around here, so they said I live in the middle of nowhere, in the farm areas. Anyway, I think my brain's going crazy, so I think I'm going to go. Make sure you go out and check Naked Cannibal Campers. It's over there on Indiegogo. I think Dave might have talked me into putting Omni #1 over there on Indiegogo just to raise a little bit more money to get some more books printed for you guys and get them shipped out. Maybe, just maybe we can get those foil covers for you guys. Who knows? Anyway, read some comics, support the indie creators. Have a good Easter if you celebrate that kind of stuff. If not, just have a pretty good Sunday. Because this was Hooligan Alley Hangout, episode 9, a pretty good Friday. Good night.